I didn't want to spend too much. I didn't want to spend too much time away from the Terrence Crawford and Canelo fight because this is a huge fight coming up, and it's a lot of things that Canelo was revealing leading up to this fight. But he thinks that Terrence Crawford will bring the best out of him, and I think that'll happen as well. I think the best version of Canelo. He's telling people right now, you're gonna have the best version of me. So any worries after that, that's gonna be on everybody else. But he seems like he's fully prepared to go into this fight and be at his best. Yeah, no excuses leading up to the fight either. Definitely like to see him have that kind of comfortable, ready for the fight. But he did have a very good interview recently where he revealed some good details on how he's looking to approach this fight. But he's ready, man. He knows that Terrence Crawford is, from what I'm hearing, he's more prepared. He's prepared to move. I'm gonna say that. Canelo, he's prepared to move. He's gonna be moving a lot and jabbing. But Eddie Reynoso and Canelo, they got a game plan already. They're preparing for with Terrence Crawford. We know it's 4 weeks away, 4.5 weeks away from this fight. Or really 4 weeks away, really, from this fight happening. And the things that he's doing already, hopefully he's been doing. Because I don't think he'll get everything prepared in 4 weeks. As far as with sparring and type of opponents he facing. But Canelo did reveal that he's prepared to move in and out against Terrence Crawford. He's not just gonna stand there and come forward like people are thinking. He's definitely gonna be moving in and out, everything he needs to. To be honest with you, I think he'll do more of what he did. Like I said, after Berlanga and Munguia got knocked down, that's when you seen Terrence Crawford really. I mean, not Terrence Crawford, but Canelo start to get out there, and that's when Terrence Crawford usually starts to press. Like those middle rounds, you'll see Canelo boxing a lot more in those middle rounds, trying to stay out the ropes like he did against he was like on the ropes against Bivol. He's gonna try to stay in the middle like he was against Billy Joe Saunders. Just watch out for the hooks. Really gotta watch out for the hooks. Because Terrence Crawford, he's gonna be jabbing, swiping the right hook. Probably, if he's in southpaw, then he have that straight left. But I don't know. I think he might switch it up a little bit with Canelo Alvarez, because Canelo, he's kind of thinking of more of southpaw position right now when it comes to Terrence Crawford. What's up, Aaron? What's up, dog? He said, "When do you sleep?" Never. I don't be never sleeping, bro. Always, always hustling. Never sleeping, bro. Appreciate you, man. I gotta do this for the people who are listening. YouTube be having they be on my back, trying to slow me down, but somebody listening. As I said when I started this channel, people be looking at me like, man, bro, got one person in there. Bro, that's all it take. That's all it take. They be trying to slow down the news, but it get to somebody though. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you for being up, man. Yeah, I gotta do this for the real ones. I really be wanting to go live 2 or 3 times a day, but I might try something like this soon. Maybe some of the news coming out. But Canelo, he's prepared to move in and out against Terence Crawford. He's gonna be in the center of the ring, but he's not just gonna be flat-footed and coming forward. That's what he said, and he's looking to fight from the southpaw position. He thinks Terence Crawford's gonna fight from the southpaw position. That's what he's waiting on. He's bringing in sparring to prepare for the southpaw position, and he said Terence Crawford is gonna bring the best out of him. You're gonna see the best Canelo in this fight leading up to it. And I'm not gonna lie, Canelo does have some if he's working with guys like Yoneli Hernandez, who just fought Kyron Davis, that's a good guy to spar before you get in the ring with a Terence Crawford. That dude, that's a good guy to spar to get you prepared. So if he's sparring somebody like that, yeah, that's probably the only person I can see that'll give him a good look as far as what he's looking for. But most guys, he's not gonna be able to get the same kind of look with Yeah, appreciate that, dog. Appreciate my dog Aaron, man. Definitely appreciate him. You already know. But yeah, Canelo Alvarez, he's preparing for the southpaw position. So if Terence Crawford come out in the orthodox, he might have some issues because him and Eddie Reynoso talking like we fully prepared for him to be southpaw. We bringing in southpaw sparring partners. Canelo gonna add some movement to his game plan. Like he said directly, I'm going in and out, man. I'm not gonna be sitting there in and out. Which he usually does in a lot of cases. Canelo will dip inside because he has short arms. He's not putting himself in a bad position. But with Bivol, everything was straight down the middle. So I think Canelo was thinking of that, and he knows Terence Crawford's arms are extremely long. Terence Crawford does not have the average man's arms for his weight class. That's a lot of reasons why people tend to get knocked out by him. I think the guy Majramal, after a while, he noticed, Terence Crawford got long arms. Terence Crawford's arms are 74 inches. 74-inch arm reach. Dimitri Bivol's arm reach is 72. Terence Crawford has longer arms than Dimitri Bivol. And if you look at Dimitri Bivol when he was fighting Canelo Alvarez, Canelo had a hard time getting around Bivol's reach. And Bivol, he was smart too because he could have been throwing some wide hooks and opening himself up. But he was keeping everything down the middle. That's the one thing that people don't notice about Bivol. Like he leans into those punches when he's throwing them, and it straightens him. He straightens his body up, makes him skinny, even the inside. Even when you're punching, he could just turn and get skinny. And Canelo missed a lot of punches like that. I'm telling you, it sounds basic, but trust me, Terence Crawford will be using that reach. Canelo had a hard time with that reach against Bivol. Because, most people know Bivol's not a guy who's a power puncher who goes in there. We've seen Lyndon Arthur go in there with Dimitri Bivol, and he did some of the same things as Canelo when he fought him. Lyndon Arthur, the guy who fought him, I want to say the first Riyadh fight when it was Otto Wallin versus Joshua. think it was December 2023. I think he fought Lyndon Arthur, who ended up beating Anthony Yarde during, I think, 2020, 2021. But if you look at Canelo's problems against Bivol, it was more so the reach and Bivol not getting wide when he's throwing these punches. Even when Bivol was throwing the hook, you can kind of see Canelo having some trouble with that reach. And the combinations. A lot of guys, they like the single shot with Canelo, 1-2s, like to load up on shots. Some guys will just stick to the jab until they need a straight. But with Canelo, he had some trouble with Bivol's reach. He got some trouble with Terrence Crawford's reach as well. He says Canelo taking VADA testing. Yeah, as far as I know, he's taking it. They're not putting out the results of his VADA testing. They didn't put out the results, but I can tell you this though, honestly, from what I've seen, Canelo Alvarez, his yeah, man, appreciate everybody who coming through, man. Hit the like button as you come through. For real. But yeah, Canelo, he has Terrence Crawford has longer arms than Canelo does. And has longer arms than Bivol. And that's gonna cause a lot of trouble with Terrence Crawford. Not Terrence Crawford, but Canelo's game plan. Doing something real quick. I be doing stuff while I'm doing other things. But yeah, man, I think people not really thinking of fight out like that. They kind of just thinking about the power and how Crawford looked in his last fight, but it's not gonna make much of a difference when they step in the ring. I'm not really confident in how Canelo been looking lately either. If I want to be honest, he looked bad against William Skull. He looked very slow. His legs was heavy. Yeah, if Canelo, as far as the VADA test, if he does come in there dirty or anything else, we'll know that within the first 3 rounds compared to how he was the last fight. If he's running around cutting the ring off all over the place and has all kind of energy, yeah, we're gonna know something up. So I ain't gonna lie, I'm not really tripping over the testing because I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'll just say this. At this point right now, him taking anything would be a safety risk to himself because the way he looked in that William Skull fight, his stamina and everything else, it would be a health risk for him to be taking something right now. I'm being honest with you. At the age he's at, he takes something, he gonna have some long-term effects. So that's one reason I'm not really like thinking that he gonna do anything because yeah, you can probably take your chance to win a fight doing that, but he'll be in similar situations as other guys who've done things like that, and they don't have usually long careers at all. But as far as I know, he is taking the VADA testing. But I think it's very, very good chance he's gonna be clean. He was clean that William Skull fight and looked like it too. I think the fact that people not pointing that out, I'm gonna just, bypass that because if that's somewhat of a secret at this point, it would be good to keep it that way. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people look at it as if he was at his best against Skull, but I think he was absolutely terrible against William Skull. He looked older. I told people he was gonna look old going into that fight. We got to remember, Oscar De La Hoya retired at 35, and Canelo Alvarez is 35 years old right now. And people say he's had a lot of fights in his career. With him being 35 and not being able to have the energy or the motivation to cut out the ring against William Skull to become two-time undisputed, if that don't motivate you, I don't know what does. So I think he needs to search him himself and figure out where the motivation gonna come from. Because one thing Terrence Crawford said recently that I kind of agree with, you just can't fight a certain way, and then when you get in the ring with somebody else, all of a sudden you're just gonna turn into a whole nother beast. You are what you are. Like when you put certain performances out there, you are what you are. What's up, Joseph Bailey? Shout out to Joseph Bailey, man. Appreciate my dog. Everyday support. Appreciate that, Joseph. Yeah, Canelo not ready, man. He ain't ready. I'm gonna be real with you. Because the William Skull fight, all that showed me was Canelo really picks and chooses. You can't have, if you're a real fighter, you don't put a pit bull in a ring with another pit bull. A pit bull, you know they get out there. And they just gonna be like, man, this fight, the next one I'm gonna get, but this one, I'm gonna just take my time. Nah. A pit bull is a pit bull in every fight. So if a pit bull knows how to fight in each, and I'm not talking about pit bull crew, I'm talking about a dog. If a dog know how to fight the same way each time, I compare Canelo to the same kind of situation. Like he don't have the same kind of motivation each fight. When he goes out there, he's not going out there to just step on guys. Especially lately. Lately, he'll knock them down, get some kind of resistance, and then he like, okay, we're just gonna carry this. Y'all remember when he was fighting Berlanga and Berlanga almost knocked him out because he walked to the corner early, right? People don't reveal that, but I'm gonna point something out to you. The fact that Canelo walked to that corner early, as soon as he heard the bell, he like, oh, let me go ahead and go to the corner. That usually don't happen. Usually you got to tell a fighter, hey, stop punching. That's a warning. Hey, can't be punching after the bell. Usually every fight you'll hear a referee tell one of the fighters, hey, quit punching after the bell, man. This man was trying to get to the corner before the round was over. So his stamina is something I'm looking at. I don't think he has the stamina to go punch with Terrence Crawford like that for 12 rounds. I just don't. Because after I've seen, people don't realize this too, Canelo out-jabbed Berlanga. Canelo was out there out-jabbing Berlanga. So he's prepared to go out there and jab with Terrence Crawford. I think Berlanga had landed like 61 jabs. I think Canelo had like 79. And I was telling people, man, these last two fights, Canelo been jabbing a lot. It ain't been too much Mexican style lately. Haven't seen too much of that. So Canelo has been in the back of his mind preparing for, okay, in the future, I'm going to need this jab. I'm like, why is he using that? And the stamina. His stamina is going to be a problem. And when that stamina starts to become a problem, he going to pull out that jab. And he going to start boxing like boxers who jab usually all the time. But if y'all peep his last two fights, go back and look. When Berlanga got knocked down, and he got up and started throwing those heavy haymakers, Canelo pulled out that jab. Same thing with Munguia. And in the Munguia fight, people actually thought Munguia won. You can look that up and Google it on articles and everything. You can go to Twitter. A lot of people thought that Munguia had won that fight. So I don't want people to think that this is the same Canelo that was knocking out Kovalev and everything else. First of all, Kovalev was not even at his best in that fight. Canelo's out here jabbing right now. And age cannot be an excuse because he's fighting an older man. But his stamina is definitely wearing him down. And I think that's the biggest thing that everybody's looking past. Canelo looks very exhausted when he's fought these last two fights. Against the William Skull fight, couldn't even get a word out against William Skull. He was moving the whole time. Couldn't even talk to him. Was tired. Um, and wasn't even doing much. Y'all gotta realize this too. And I ain't trying to be funny or nothing. Canelo didn't even move much against William Skull, and he was exhausted. Look at the end of the fight. Uh, Look at the end of the fight with William Skull when he was talking to him and everything. How hard he was breathing. He was exhausted, and he didn't do much. And everybody said that, man, that was the most boring fight. They didn't throw a lot of punches, and that man was exhausted. And he wasn't chasing William Skull, so that's not a reason. Definitely wasn't chasing him. William Skull was getting punches off on Canelo. So he was there to be hit, but that shows you. And William Skull, let me see his arm reach, because the way he was treating Canelo, you would think his arm reach was like 80. But William Skull, I don't think he has long arms. I don't know. They don't have his arm reach on here, but his arms are not long though. Yeah, he has short arms in that weight class. I've seen other guys. I'm pretty sure Terrence Crawford has longer arms than he does. And he was able to get them punches off. So I think that's gonna be more of an issue than anything. And then once Canelo start worrying about the combination from Terrence Crawford, he's already gonna be exhausted by then. And I'm gonna show you something else too that Canelo can't make a mistake with. I'm gonna show y'all this. Even though it's a still picture and still pictures don't tell a whole lot, I'm gonna show you what you can't make a mistake on though. Because I see it with Bivol and I see it with him, with William Skull. He said Bud will go to the body in championship round. Canelo will get tired of the 7th round. I agree, Joseph. Facts. I think he's gonna slow down after that round. That 7th round, for some reason, he starts to get exhausted. That ain't it. Let me pull it up. Yeah, he starts to get exhausted after that round. Show you this William Skull. Because Canelo, he can't open himself up like this. The way he did against Bivol, he's gonna try to not let that happen. But yeah, he can't. Cause yeah, he's catching William Skull with that jab. But look how open he is though. Terrence Crawford ain't going for that. I'm letting y'all know that right now. This little lazy jab right here, he's catching him, but look how open he is. Yeah. Bro. Terrence Crawford ain't going for that. I'm telling you that right now. The reflexes on Terrence Crawford, he's gonna be there already. And he's left hand dominant in most situations. So yeah, that's not gonna be a good look. And one excuse me. And one thing I gotta look at is Canelo's how he's actually looked against southpaws. I haven't really looked into it yet. I was kind of busy yesterday. But one thing also y'all can look at on your own is what southpaws Canelo's fought and how he's actually looked against the southpaw fighters he actually fought against. I think that's the biggest thing anybody can look at right now. How Canelo has looked against southpaws. Because for some reason, it sounds like he hasn't looked good against southpaws, but I haven't really looked into it that much. I think Billy Joe was a southpaw. I think Billy Joe was a southpaw. Canelo was doing a good job when he was fighting Billy Joe, but he was more so leading with uppercuts. because Billy Joe was leaning over so much, ducking under and moving. Canelo kept catching with that uppercut, going to the body. Yeah, Billy Joe Saunders is southpaw, and that gave Canelo issues. Him fighting the southpaw like Billy Joe, he had a lot of issues. Let me see. Hey, yeah, if y'all go back and look at that fight with Billy Joe and Canelo was uncomfortable a lot of time. He was comfortable. I ain't gonna say he was uncomfortable. He was comfortable, but okay. Let me go through this real quick. Ooh, this is a good list right here. Canelo Alvarez. These are the southpaw fighters he's faced. Austin Trout, April 20th, 2013. Erislandy Lara, July 12th, 2014. James Kirkland, May 9th, 2015. Billy Joe Saunders, and John Ryder, who fights right and left, but most of the time fights the southpaw. So we got Austin Trout, Lara, Kirkland, Saunders, and John Ryder are all the southpaws. Canelo had I actually chat GPT. I use them on this one. It said that if you're asking because you're analyzing how Canelo performs against southpaws, in general, he's had mixed success. He's beaten them all, but some, like Lara and Trout, gave him stylistic problems due to movement and angles. Let me know if you want a breakdown of how he handled each style. All right, here's what it says right here as far as Canelo. Adaptability, Canelo adjusts. I'll pull this up for you guys. This will be good to see. I'm actually glad I actually pulled this up. Says Canelo, Austin Trout style, slick, rangy southpaw with good jab, footwork, defensive minded. Uh, Canelo struggles, had trouble early with Trout's movement, jabbed. Worked. What worked? He dropped Trout in the 7th round with a counter right hand. Improved his timing as the fight went on. Yeah, he definitely does that. Canelo definitely improves his timing as the fight goes on. I will say that. He's more accurate. I think Canelo, I seen the fight against Berlanga. I think Canelo was landing like 40, 50 punches or something. He was like 40, 50%, on his punches late in the fight. So when I seen that, I was like, that's still dangerous. This dude landing like 40, 50% late in the fight. I mean, his brain was foggy, but this dude was accurate, though. Like, Canelo's used to being in that position where he's exhausted. So, yeah, dude, he treated a 12-round fight like it ain't nothing. I still got to look at it that way. I don't, but I have to. He said it was the first big test versus a slick southpaw in Austin Trout, and he struggled at times but adjusted well. That was his first big test versus slick southpaw. All right, with Lara, they says elite Cuban slickster, exceptional footwork, jab, and ring IQ. Canelo struggles, couldn't cut off the ring effectively, got hit with clean counters while chasing. Got hit. This is what I was saying as far as the Crawford thing. Got hit with clean counters while chasing. I think Canelo's going to try to stay out of chase mode because he has a guy in the ring that's going to meet him in the center. So what he's going to do, he's going to be in and out. Like I said, he's going to be in and out. He knows Crawford has too much power to be trying to run into a shot. He targeted Lara's body to slow him down, laying the heavier and more damaging shots. Arguably the toughest stylistic test of Canelo's career. Showed limitation versus movers. We already know the Kirkland fight. Um, Counter punches. Got Kirkland got KO with the right hand. Kirkland was aggressive, brawling southpaw with little defense. But as far as with Billy Joe Saunders, his style, it's a slick, elusive southpaw, good jab, good head movement. Canelo struggles, took time to close the distance early. Some difficulty reading Saunders' rhythm. Yeah, I seen that as well. What worked? Good body work from early rounds. Cut out the ring more effectively than in Laura fight. Landed a brutal right uppercut in round 8 that broke Saunders' orbital bone. Saunders didn't come out for round 9, so he broke his orbital bone. And takeaway, he showed evolved ring IQ and patience, better at breaking down southpaws than in 2014. Yeah, and against the John Ryder fight, he broke his hand in that fight. He would have stopped John Ryder. Joseph said, I noticed in Canelo's previous fights. Let me pull this up. He said, I noticed in Canelo's previous fights, his opponents don't throw a lot of body punches on him, straight head hunters. Exactly. I'm glad you pointed that out. He's been fighting a lot of head hunters. A lot of them. I think when even Bivol, a lot of times, he was, even Bivol, man, I was like, man, he's kind of head hunting a little bit. He was towards the chest area, though. Bivol was smart because, usually when you push somebody, it's in the chest. So he's punching Canelo in the chest, keeping him back. You know how some boxers will push a guy back, then they'll start punching him in the head. Bivol's using his punches to the chest to keep Canelo back. So I think Crawford in that position should go straight to the chest. Boom, 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 like Bivol. Because he has the arm reach. Canelo has to step around that. I seen Canelo throw a left hook on Billy Joe Saunders. This dude's leg was all the way behind Billy Joe Saunders. I said, this dude had to put his leg behind Billy Joe Saunders to throw a hook? That's not going to work against Crawford. You put your leg behind Crawford trying to throw a hook, he's going to turn around and throw a combination. I want y'all to see that. I think that was either the first round or the second round. Canelo steps to his left, put his left leg behind Billy Joe Saunders, and I think he threw a left hook or a right hook or something like that. I was like, bro, that's not going to work. You can't do that against Terrence Crawford. And Joseph is right. Straight head hunters. Terrence Crawford will go to the body on this dude. He did it against a lot of guys, against Spence, everybody. He didn't really head hunt against Spence like that. Once he caught him in a combination when he was ready, that's when he went for it. But he didn't really head hunt Earl Spence like that. And I think Earl Spence, whether people believe it or not, I think Canelo will try to roll with Earl Spence's game plan. People will say, no, he wouldn't do that. Canelo would think, oh, I'm a better talent than Earl Spence. If he can if he can go that long with Terrence Crawford in that fight, I can possibly do the same thing. He'll probably think I'm a better talent than Earl Spence, so I can go 12 rounds fighting that same type of style that he did against Terrence Crawford. Let's hope he's that arrogant. I'm just being real. Sometimes being good like that can make you have a bad game plan going into things. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Canelo ready to box. He ain't trying to impress nobody when he steps out there. He said Bud will use his angles and Canelo will get frustrated. Bud's footwork be on point. That's what Canelo does not realize. The footwork issues he had with Billy Joe Saunders. I was looking at him like Billy Joe Saunders. He doesn't have really amazing footwork like that. His movement was good, but his footwork was very sloppy. It was sloppy because he'll do some good things, but then as soon as he's finished, Canelo step right around him, boom, 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 throw a combination. It was like Billy Joe Saunders opened himself up too much. But I think Terrence Crawford's gonna take a little bit of Billy Joe, Trout, Lara, all those guys, and take everything. Like Joseph said, that body work. He has to go to the body just to keep Canelo away. I know a lot of people are saying Canelo can get knocked out. Probably Canelo could probably get hurt to the body. You can hurt anybody to the body, especially when Canelo's opening up and he has to reach up to throw these combinations because Canelo's gonna be a shorter man technically, so he's gonna be reaching up throwing these punches. And trust me, his chest area, his abdominal area is gonna be open, and Terrence Crawford gonna be there to land a big shot. And Canelo will as well. He gonna go to the body. Canelo gonna go to the body on Terrence Crawford. He's gonna test Terrence Crawford's body. He's definitely gonna try to test his body. I think they're gonna both be in that position to see who opens up first. I think that's gonna be more of a situation. That's how Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo was doing. They was actually going to the body in situation. Canelo was throwing uppercuts to the body on Billy Joe. Then Billy Joe started to open up later on in the fight. Then Canelo, boom, 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 start head hunting. Canelo's a little more smarter with his head hunting. That's why what Joseph said right there is a big deal. Canelo will wait later in rounds to actually start head hunting. I don't think he started head hunting Billy Joe till like 5th round, probably 6th. But he was throwing uppercuts, boom, uppercut. Because he seen Billy Joe leaning every time, dropping low, head over his feet. And Canelo's like, okay, I don't have a reach advantage, but let me try to throw this uppercut on him real quick. And every time Billy Joe Saunders would get caught flush on the chin. So yeah, that's when Canelo is going to use his advantage as far as uppercuts, body work. But I don't think Terrence Crawford's going to be up. What I don't like about Terrence Crawford, what he does though, he does tend to take a flush shot. He will take a flush shot sometimes to give a flush shot. It usually happens like once a fight, at least one time. And I'm like, I don't like that. You know what happens in boxing, but sometimes the punch he takes is like one of the most devastating punches of the fight. Shows he has a chin now. But sometimes I don't like that. Like against Madrimov, I think one of the best uppercuts Madrimov had threw. It ended up catching him flush. But I think later on in the fight, he started getting more aggressive. And Madrimov stopped all that. Once Terrence Crawford started going to the body, and that's when he started swiping the hook to the body. So the body work he did against Madrimov, I think that'll be something that'll help him against Canelo Alvarez. Because Canelo's seems like he wants to do the in and out movement, not like Madrimov does, but whichever way he can do it to imitate it the best way he can for his advantage. Canelo Alvarez is going to be doing that stepping in and out. Stepping in and out. That's what he says he's going to do. And preparing for Terrence Crawford in that southpaw. Now, if Terrence Crawford goes right hand, southpaw, that'll cause some issues because that's how John Ryder was able to last so long. Yeah, a guy like Billy Joe, you got to realize if Canelo's able to push Terrence Crawford back, if Terrence Crawford steps back on his right leg, he's used to throwing a punch from that position. If he steps back with his left leg, he's used to throwing a power punch from that position. So the man has power in both hands, and that's what Canelo's going to have to really worry about. This man is stepping back, but he's in position where he can throw a power punch at any time. So you're not just pushing the guy back to where you think you got an advantage because he's stepping back. You got to realize he's still in fighting position, whether his left leg is back or right leg. And when Canelo realized that with John Ryder, he's like, oh, okay, I got to survive now. Because if you go look at the fight with John Ryder, he hurt his hand. He broke his wrist against John Ryder, something like that. His hand, wrist, after he knocked him down. That's when John Ryder started switching positions. He was like, oh, okay, I can just. And that's what John Ryder said later on. Oh, I wish I would have fought Canelo earlier in my career. I would have learned a lot more. But he was already done after that fight, though. That's why when Munguia knocked him out, he retired. So really, the thing about Canelo that I've seen too, the hard fights he have is with guys who come to fight. Like guys who really come to fight give Canelo trouble. I know people say, well, he's fought good opponents and Hall of Famers. All these guys have not come to fight. I have to say that. All these guys have not come to fight. Even though when you see Billy Joe Saunders and him have a lot of success against Canelo, he's not a guy that you would look at Canelo's resume and say, hey, he would have the most success over 8 rounds out of most of these guys Canelo fought, but he did. Because he came in there with the attitude of, I'm going to win. So that's a lot of these guys, they having that attitude when they step in the ring, man. I'm be real with y'all. And people might think, oh, you talking about Charlo. No, I'm not talking about Charlo. I'm probably talking about Kovalev, guys like that. Because Kovalev, he did everything he could to step in the ring with Canelo, just to get in the ring. This man was like, I was probably 30%. He did everything he could to step in the ring with him just to get the check. I think a lot of times we've had guys who Canelo stepped in the ring with, they ain't been motivated by beating this guy. Like Bivol, he stepped in the ring to beat Canelo. Didn't make a lot of money either. I forgot how much Bivol made against Canelo Alvarez. But he didn't make a lot of money. So he came in there with the mindset of, oh, I got to beat this guy. I'm coming to win. Yeah, Bivol got, what, $5 million? He didn't get what Berlanga and these other guys got recently. They say 5, they say $10 million. I don't know. In between that, that's still less than what Berlanga got. I don't know about 10, bro. He just got, didn't he get 10 to fight Bitterville? I don't know if he got 10. They said Bivol was guaranteed $2 million and up to $5 million depending on the pay-per-view. Okay, that sounds more right. I'm like, 10 million. You know who he could have fought back then for that 10 million instead of Bivol? I know Bivol's a big name now, but at that time, 10 million for Bivol that sounds crazy. It was only a certain amount of people making 10 million. I don't even think Tank was getting 10 million at that time. Yeah, 10 million is crazy. But yeah, he had that motivation to go in there and beat this guy because he knew what he was capable of. A lot of these guys going in there, man, I'm just getting checked. So a lot of times we just run into that issue with some of these fighters. Like they don't even believe that they can beat Canelo. Some guys, I think they can beat Canelo. I think when Charlo went in the ring with Canelo, and after Canelo dropped him, Charlo started really fighting. Start landing some good shots on Canelo. If y'all go back and look when Charlo was on the ropes, I think it was like an 11th round or whatever. He was landing some good shots on Canelo. I'm like, bro, why you wouldn't fight like that the whole fight? Then we hear his brother come out like, man, these dudes, some people, you know about the thing about guys taking dives and everything. I'm like, wow. Bro, don't be saying that when after the fight your brother had. You need to be the last guy saying something like that. I wouldn't even say nothing like that. Because that's a fight where you say somebody took a dive in, allegedly. But I'm just saying. When he said, yeah, boxers be taking dives all the time. Nah, man. Don't say that. But I don't think Terrence Crawford's gonna go out there and fight like that. Definitely don't. Terrence Crawford's a guy, he'll go out there he'll go out on his shield before he go out there and just say, yeah, I tried my best against Canelo. That's not gonna happen. Definitely not gonna happen. But with Canelo though, what I'm worried about with him is his counterpunching versus Terrence Crawford. Is he going to be in a position where he's going to try to be first, or is he going to let Terrence Crawford get his shots off? The way I'm thinking, Canelo's going to try to wait to Terrence Crawford open himself up. I don't think he's going to be try to be aggressive on Terrence Crawford because he knows that the speed and power of Terrence Crawford is still elite compared to the other guys he's just been in the ring with. And I don't think a William Skull, Berlanga, or Munguia has prepared him. I think that might have actually handicapped him going into this fight. And then when you see Berlanga have success like he did when he was boxing against Canelo, and the man was aggressive after he felt Canelo's power and got dropped. He was more aggressive. And it seemed like Canelo's seeing that was just like, I don't want to say he bagged out of it, but he didn't really attack that situation with Berlanga like he was ready for a war. Like that fight could have turned into a war. People got to realize Berlanga was walking him down that last round, trying to get a knockout. So I don't like that Canelo's actually been tiptoeing through these last few fights. Same kind of performances that Crawford had against Madrimal. But Crawford ain't been at 154 all these years. So for him to have these kind of performances, and he's, well, I'm gonna do things, and then to come out to say I'm gonna do things in this fight with Crawford that I haven't done recently. He gonna bring the best out of me. 60-something fights. And then Canelo's trainer doesn't even know, but he said something about Canelo, but he was saying it about Crawford, but it kind of relates to Canelo. He's like, well, after all these fights, you're gonna be the same kind of fighter that you always been. You know, Crawford's not gonna go in the gym and change how he is, and Canelo's not either. That's the good part about this fight. He's not gonna change who he is, but he's not gonna be able to improve this late either. That's also something we have to realize. I feel like he's getting worse as fights go on. This is not something I said this year because the fight coming up. I said last year, I want to see how good he looks at 35. Canelo just turned 35 last month. Congrats to him. I want to see how he looks at 35 because Oscar De La Hoya retired at 35. 35 is not a easy age to box at. I know we got superhumans out here like Usyk and Crawford that make it look easy, and people grew up on Mayweather and George Foreman. Seeing all these guys get old and fight at a high level, that ain't normal though. Shoot, usually guys retire at 34 in any sport. So with him boxing at 35, he's gonna have to do some new things, and him trying some new things will have him in a very bad position. He needs to go out here and do the best that he can, because I see a lot of times when Canelo gets overwhelmed, he just shells up. And that's probably the one thing I probably never talk about. He shells up anytime he gets in a position where he's uncomfortable. Against Floyd, he shelled up, held on to the 12th round, that was it. Against Bivol, he shelled up, held on to the end of the round. To the end of the fight. Then you do it. Then he said, come on. So that shows that you have an ego. That shows that when somebody's bullying you, you don't have the mentality to bully someone back. You don't have the attitude that, who does this guy think he is? He think he finna have me on the ropes this whole fight? This guy's throwing combinations and hitting me in the head 5 or 6 times. Do y'all remember when Bivol was hitting Canelo with those shots to the head? He was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Just sitting there punching him. Y'all remember that? Canelo just sitting there. And then Bivol backs off, and then Canelo's like, come on. That attitude right there shows me that he's willing to, I don't know, it's a bad look, to be honest with you, when you really think about it, because you know you're in a bad spot, you're looking bad, you're getting overwhelmed by punches. There's nothing you can really do. You just shell up and tell the guy to keep punching on you. So with that kind of attitude against an elite fighter like that, nah, that's not a sparring. And then treating it like a sparring, man. It looked like a spar throwdown. Not the way the fight goes, but the attitude is like it's a sparring match. And another thing Crawford pointed out, because that the way you spar is the way you fight. And I've seen some sparring videos with Canelo, and yeah, you working on things in there, but the way you spar is the way you fight. That's the best way to put it. Uh, he said, "Why do you think Triple G got so much money?" I think Triple G got so much money because, um, with the way that boxing is now, Eastern European fighters wasn't really on the forefront, and Triple G was already having investments after he had that situation with the Olympics. I think Triple G got cheated in the Olympics or something like that. So, his country made it a concerted effort to not put him in a position where he could lose out on anything when he get to the pros. So they wanted to put him in the best position to win, and not just win as far as like get victories, but to be successful. So that's why he came into the game, and they picked and choose who he fought and led him with Canelo Alvarez. But I think Triple G, his whole objective was to put him on a level that was higher than a Andre Ward or most of the other guys that was already boxing. Because when you start comparing a Triple G to an Andre Ward, and then I think, and to be real with y'all, this is the thing that's going to be more disgusting about boxing. This is why a guy like me has to have a boxing channel, even if I don't want one. I think Triple G might have made more money than Andre Ward in his career. Tell me how disgusting that sounds. I think Triple G might have made more money than Andre Ward in his career. That's the crazy part. I think he might have made more money than the guy. Which is sad, but I gotta look it up though. What is let me see what his career earnings are. What is Gennady Golovkin's career earnings? Triple G got 15 million for the first fight with Canelo plus revenue for pay-per-view, 30 million for the rematch. God damn, this dude got $50 million for the third fight. This dude made $50 million for the third fight, bro. Oh my God. It says that his career earnings are between 130 and 150 million. Another website says that it's $144 million he made from the zone deal and his purses he had with Canelo and other fights. $100+ million. What is Andre Ward's? That's why everybody said Andre Ward begging for a payday. Andre Ward ain't never had a payday like that. Let's go learn some. That's what they be criticizing. They pick and choose and they want to criticize though. That shows you though. The media has trained these people to think that Triple G is a bigger star than Andre Ward. That's how powerful the media is. They say around 20 million, 30 million, probably like 20, 30 million. Andre Ward got 5 million for guaranteed for Kovalev. Then he got 6.5 million the next fight with Kovalev. That's nasty work, bro. That's nasty work, bro. That's super nasty. People be thinking I be going in on Triple G too hard, bro. How? This man made $30 million. Andre Ward made $30 million in his career. Triple G got 144 million, and they both were signed with Michael Jordan with Jordan Brand. People don't understand, bro. They don't understand, man. It's way deeper than what people realize. It's deeper than boxing. If people want to talk about the business of boxing, that's the business of boxing they need to talk about. They'll never talk about the business of boxing though. That's the business of boxing that needs to be talked about on YouTube. Why Triple G made $144 million, and Andre Ward barely made $30 million, and he stepped in the ring with Kovalev, who was taking guys off this planet, and nobody else was stepping to him. I just don't understand it. I'm confused. Triple G made more in the third Canelo fight than Andre Ward made his whole career. And those are both two guys that could have fought him. One of them fought the guy he lost to. I mean that he beat, that lost to him, and the other guy didn't fight anybody. Yeah, so they've been. That is disgusting, bro. Then you got people out here tomorrow. Andre Ward, why you asking for a payday? You asking Anthony Joshua for a payday? Andre Ward ain't never got no payday. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm telling you, they're gonna continue to do this and do it and do it. They're trying to do it with other fighters right now. But you know, people don't see the complete picture, so I get a lot of pushback on certain things because they don't understand I'm fighting for guys like that. I'm trying to avoid situations where, because people like, I just care about the fighters getting paid. Like people saying right now, well, Dana White's not paying fighters, so I just want to make sure that the fighters are getting paid. That's the biggest lie they tell in boxing. Andre Ward, they never made sure that Andre Ward made more money than Golovkin. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just put that stat up there for people to see though. I'm gonna put that up there for y'all real quick. Let me see if I can get this up here real quick. Andre Ward. That's nasty, man. So Andre Ward made $30 million in his career. And Golovkin made $144 million. That's why I say when people talk about the money and stuff now, it's already guys who ain't did nothing that's getting paid more than Andre Ward, bro. And it's not because Andre Ward is retired. It's because they chose not to pay him. It ain't got nothing to do with him not boxing. They just don't want to pay him. Let me see this. Remove this. Man, I'm gonna put this at the center. My bad. Doing something real quick. But yeah, I'm just putting this up here. But yeah, Andre Ward, he made $30 million his career, and Triple G made $144 million. Stuff like that has to change. You know what I'm saying? That's why when I say certain things about certain fighters not being pushed to the front, actually, you know what I'm saying? Just having fights like a Gunno getting 20 million. Guys been getting paid heavy. And it's not just because of turkey out of sheet. Triple G ain't never had a turkey out of sheet check. For him to make $50 million in one fight is insane. That's crazy. He made more money in one fight than Andre Ward made in his whole career. So skills don't pay the bills, actually. So the media does hurt your career when it comes to money. And most of the people who Talk about, fighters in these days. These same people that was around then when they was talking about Andre Ward and Triple G, and Triple G had the easiest career you could think of because he had no expectations. Nobody had any expectations for Triple G. He had no expectations really. As a boxer, when you got no expectations, that's the best thing. Could you imagine a Tank Davis fighting right now with no expectations? Or Haney with no expectations? Or Shakur Stevenson? And these are fighters that are considered smaller than a Triple G right now. People are like, oh, those guys are not on Triple G's level, but their expectations are higher than a Triple G. Nobody requested Triple G to fight anybody. That's why I'm trying to figure out where this 144 million coming from. But yeah, Terrence Crawford getting the same check that Triple G got, $30 million, and he ain't need Turkey out of sheet. Triple G made $50 million fighting Canelo his last fight, and Terrence Crawford finna get $50 million fighting Canelo, but he didn't have to go through what Triple G went through. Well, Triple G didn't have to go through what Terrence Crawford went through. He didn't have to have the labels on him as a duck. He's on snack. He's too small. He ain't fought nobody. He need to move up. When you make 144 million and you ain't really hearing none of that stuff, that's the easiest check you'll ever see somebody get in sports for 100. Usually, a guy who make $100 million gets criticized. You said, how do I feel about the Ray Ford and Moses Tama fight? Oh, it's good, man. I actually did a whole live on that probably Tuesday or Wednesday, where I just talked about Ray Ford and Atama. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. This one right here. It's gonna be a good fight, man, actually. But I had did a whole live on that a couple days ago. The picture looks like this. And I think it's like a couple of hours. I went into full detail, but I think Ray Ford he's gonna show out, man. He's one of the best fighters in the game right now when it comes to people who's doing a lot for the sport. A young guy who's really getting it done right now. But if you see this picture right here, I had actually did a live on Moses Tama and Ray Ford a couple of days ago. Let me post it in the chat for you. But it was a good I feel like it's gonna be a good fight though, man. Moses Tama, he's a good heavyweight. I don't think he's proven himself yet. Like other people would have to prove themselves at heavyweight, but yeah, let me put this out. Shout out to King Todd too, man. Oh, hold on, I posted the wrong thing. Yeah, I did it on I did it a couple of days ago, so I can be early on it. But yeah, it's gonna be a very good fight, man. I think Ray Ford is one of the best guys without a belt right now. I think at 140, he's gonna shout out to King Taj. I think he's actually gonna carry this division at 130. And also I think he's one of the best fighters without a belt. I think he's been fighting some of the best fighters. Even the guys like Abraham Nova, he's about to fight. This is a main event fight for most people. And this is considered a late replacement for Ray Ford. So he's always in a tough fight. To be honest with you, Ray Ford is putting himself in a better position than most guys. Like people can think what they want, but I'll say this: Ray Ford is actually he might have a better situation when it's all said and done than a lot of these fighters who's considered bigger names than him right now because he just fought a lot of guys, man. Nick Ball, Komatov, I think he fought recently, but he just about ended that guy's career in America as far as fighting. And Moses Tama, I think he's a good heavyweight. Just gotta see how he is against Dillian White. I think him catching Dillian White with only 10 rounds in 2 years is a huge advantage for Moses. I think it's a huge advantage. I think anything past 6 rounds would be a huge advantage for Moses. So with Dillian White, he's coming in there motivated, but he's letting these media people get to him way too much. He just needs to answer the questions and leave. I think he's getting way too frustrated by what they're saying about him outside the ring, and it's starting to affect him a little bit. But yeah, I had did a whole live, and I don't remember what I said on it because usually I get my mindset ready for the live. But yeah, I think this is gonna be a very good fight. I'm gonna be live for it tomorrow too. It's gonna be a very good fight card. I think the whole fight card is gonna be good actually, even the prospects. I seen one of the prospects fight on Riyadh. I think it's a Saudi Arabian fighter. He pretty good. It's pretty good. He be in some entertaining fights. So I'm probably gonna watch the whole fight card. But most of the time, I think he's ready, man. I think he's ready to take that step forward. I know he's a young guy, only 20 years old, but he's legit though. I said before the last fight, I was like, man, I think he got something. And he came out and destroyed McKean. I thought McKean was gonna be a tougher opponent than that though. I thought McKean was gonna take him 12 rounds. That dude came out and destroyed McKean. It was still a weird shot the way the shot was, but you could tell Moses got some real power. So, and he's a big guy. I don't know why. It's because he's probably young, and it's TV. But the dude is 6'4". I don't know why I think he's 6'2" or something like that, but he's 6'4". He's an animal. He's the same size as Dillian White, same arm reach, younger, faster. I think Moses takes some dumb shots sometimes, like right hands. He takes some dumb shots to the chin. If he takes clean shots to Dillian White like he does these other guys, it will not be a long fight. It will be a very short fight. He won't be around long. Yeah, me too. Ooh, you got Tom as a lock? Yeah, I got him too. I think it's gonna go 12. It's a 12-round fight, ain't it? If it's 10 rounds, it's definitely going 10. But yeah, I got him. Dillian White may get stopped late. I don't know. His stamina usually is crazy late, but he's been doing, I don't know, he hasn't been in the ring in a while. He hasn't fought much since he fought Jermaine Franklin. That was months and months and months before Joshua fought him. So that was a long time ago. That was the last time I really seen him in action, and his stamina was decent. He was boxing well in that fight, but he was 34, 35 around the time. He's gonna look a lot different this time around. Yeah, but I think Moses is the real deal though. I think he's better at this age than Dane Dubois is, just because of the tenacity he has. Dane Dubois, he was letting guys bully him early, as far as in the ring. Like with Joe Joyce, I thought he was better than Joe Joyce, but he just wasn't aggressive. You seen how he stepped to Joshua, even though he got beat up in the last fight with Usyk, still stepped to him a lot more aggressive than he usually does in fights early in his career. I think Moses already got past that stage where he needs to be aggressive when he doesn't. I think that's the best compliment I can give him outside of his knockouts and everything. He knows when to be aggressive, because a lot of guys look at his age and they try to use that as a reason to be more aggressive with him. But once they start to see, oh, okay, he's a bully, that's when guys usually run into trouble. But I think Moses is a real deal, though. I think he's a lot better than, like I said, when Dane Dubois was at his age, he was very good. But even Dillian White said recently that Moses got too much amateur background. The sparrings he's had, his sparring is almost similar to what I used to hear about Dave Benavidez. When Dave Benavidez was sparring Triple G and those guys, he was getting better, and that's what Moses Atama. He's in that same situation. I don't want to compare him. Well, I will. I will compare him. How about that? I will say that he's having the same introduction to boxing that David Benavidez had when he turned pro. When he turned pro, he was 20, one of the youngest guys in boxing, fighting guys who was 30, older guys. And Moses in the same position. And all of this came from really good sparring matches. Benavidez didn't have an amateur background. So all the sparring and stuff, sometimes it's a lot more important than people realize, especially with these younger fighters. I've seen sparring get Benavidez prepared. So with Moses, I don't say every young prospect is going to get be a great fighter because he sparred somebody. But the way these guys have been sparring a lot of people, you can tell, okay, if I'm seeing Moses sparring a lot more elite fighters than the elite fighters are, and this dude is only 19, just turned 20, I got to pay attention to that. You said, how come you got it going the distance? I can see it early in the mid KO by Tama. The reason why I say that is because I think Dillian White, at this stage of his career, I've seen him lately know that even like in a touchy fight, I've seen him lately not try to rush early and just try to be, overexert himself early on in the fight, because I think he does that way too much. When you look at his career, a lot of times he's got knocked out by being too aggressive. And I think going into this fight, he's going to be a lot more patient. And he knows that people are expecting him to get knocked out. I think even his mindset, it won't be on survival mode because he's going to be aggressive. But in the back of his mind, he's going to realize, okay, this guy's a young guy. He still doesn't have the experience like that. So let me try to use all the experience I have instead of just relying on my power. Let me use all my veteran tactics. Let me hold him, lean on him. Let me put my weight on him. See how well he does with aggression, with guys bullying him, pushing after the referee said stop. Just small stuff like that to get in Moses' mind. And Moses, like, let's see how Moses reacts when he gets someone in the ring that wants to irritate him and get him out of his game plan. He's still a young guy. You probably can get him out of his game plan. I feel like mentally he's strong probably, but we don't know that. I don't know him personally. So we got to see how mentally strong he actually is. So I think Dillian White is going to challenge him mentally. That's why I said 12 rounds could possibly go on the distance. But I think it's 10-round fight probably? I don't know. Sometimes they do 10 rounds, 12. Let me look up for sure. But I think that's why. But yeah, I can see, it's a 10-round fight. 10-round fight? I don't know. They're not too confident in him. So look, this is for the WBO Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. And it's only 10 rounds. So that shows you right there that, because Moses, he's only went 1 or 2 rounds lately. He went 6 rounds, but that was with some guys in 2023. So lately, he's only went 1 or 2 rounds. That's why I said when he gets into the situations where he's just boxing, the power's going to be there, but you're really going to have to try to knock Dillian White out to get him up out of there. But he's only went 1 or 2 rounds lately. That's the only reason I was looking at it. And Dillian White is not a trash heavyweight. Been knocked out 3 times, but one of the guys that knocked him out was Tyson Fury. The other one was Povetkin, who was on something around that time. And then Joshua in 2015. Yeah, so Chisora, he doesn't, not Chisora. So but Dillian White, he doesn't really get knocked out like that. He has been knocked out, but it's in fights where you're like, that makes sense. It's not like where you're like, whoa, hold on, why he got knocked out in this fight? So I think he has a decent chin. Like I said, he puts himself in a bad position a lot of times. And even when he fought Fury, I think he got desperate after he started bleeding and stuff anyways. Like a lot of times we got knocked out, dude was desperate. And we gotta realize too, Dillian White didn't have an amateur background like Moses Atama had. So this man was stepping right after learning how to box. He's stepping right into the ring and fighting Joshua. What 4 years after really stepping into the boxing game? So I think the thing that people overlook with Dillian White, he's still getting better as his career goes on. That's the biggest compliment I've seen I can give him. Like ever since I seen him in 2016, 17, I was like, okay, this guy's pretty good. Didn't know how long he was boxing. But as you look on, you say, okay, after he lost to Joshua, he got knocked out. He fought Dave Allen, Chisora, Elenis, Lucas Brown, Parker, Chisora, Rivas. He did a good job in those fights. And these are not easy guys. Like Parker is not an easy fight. Like Dillian White is still a guy who beat Joseph Parker. No matter how we feel about this fight. I know he's not the same guy from back then, but if you can go out there and put Parker on your resume, and Parker doesn't have a lot of losses. Parker's only lost to 3 guys. So to put him on your resume as a win, I definitely would say it's not easy for me to just say, yeah, he'll get stopped. I definitely couldn't say that. The way boxing goes, it's a weird game these days. Boxing really and to be honest with you, like Todd said, I'm thinking of mid rounds though. Because Dillian White hasn't been in the ring in a long time. There's a lot of factors going into it. If he was active, I would know a lot more, but he only had 10 rounds in 2 years. But Moses doesn't have a high tempo. His tempo isn't really high. He's like kind of lax, patient. It'll be a slow rolling fight, but they can be throwing a lot of punches. You know what I'm saying? It can be like an old man fight with a lot of power punches. Albert, what's up, Albert? He said, I don't think Canelo has a game plan because Canelo never changes anything in fights. And Crawford is an expert on changing up and move to south to orthodox. And with that, Crawford will make Canelo walk into something. Yeah, I believe that as well, Albert. But one thing I did point out recently was, and I think Canelo actually does. I understand what you're saying. He's not going to change. I actually think Canelo has been trying to switch some things up recently with his boxing ability. He's done some different things. Like if you look at like I said earlier, if you look at the fight with Berlanga and Munguia, after those guys got knocked down and they switched up their game plans, Canelo did as well. Canelo knocked those guys down and started boxing. Started throwing the jab, moving. He wasn't very aggressive. I think it's going to turn to a situation like that for him. That's the closest I can see him changing up some things. Because Canelo can go out there jabbing and moving and throwing hooks to the body, or he can go out there and just looking for body shots and throwing hooks and looking for openings like he did against Billy Joe Saunders. That's the closest he can do as far as switching up, but I agree with you though. That's the closest I've seen about him actually switching it up. Anything past that, I don't think he has anything. I'm more worried about his stamina at this point though, because I just feel like William Scole's work rate, with him and Canelo having one of the lowest work rates of 2025, I just don't understand why Canelo was so tired. That's the thing that kind of gets me with Canelo. I'm like, why was he so exhausted during this fight? But yeah, I agree with you though. Crawford has he can adapt a lot. And I think people don't understand that if Crawford wants to fight on the inside, he can fight on the inside. All this moving around that people are talking about with Crawford, no, he doesn't move around like that. He'll move to find the angle because you can do so much with a high guard when a guy has a high guard, which Canelo's gonna have. But yeah, I think they're overlooking Terrence Crawford's ability to get angles like Joseph Bailey said earlier. What's up, J Man? Shout out my dog J Man. What's up, dog? Appreciate J Man for coming through, man. Appreciate everybody coming through in the chat. But yeah, I think Canelo has, like we said earlier, I'll go back over a lot of things that I said earlier about Canelo. And I'll pull up some other things I seen. But with Canelo Alvarez, we had a conversation earlier about, because Canelo's prepared to face Terrence Crawford as a southpaw. So the first thing I asked everybody early on the live was, what southpaws has Canelo faced in his career? And the ones they told us was Austin Trout, Lara, James Kirkland, Billy Joe Saunders, and John Ryder. What all those guys have in common is they were successful boxing Canelo, except for Kirkland. And besides Billy Joe Saunders and Kirkland, they went the distance. So it seems like people are relying more on Crawford to come out like Kirkland or Billy Joe Saunders than he would a Lara or Trout. And he's really stayed away from that style as far as Trout and Lara. He hasn't really fought that style since 2014, 13. I don't know if Canelo is that a good thing for him that he stayed away from that style. Yeah, he fought Billy Joe Saunders that way, but Billy Joe Saunders is not the same as a Trout and a Lara. Trout is still active right now. Lara's still active. Different types. Trust me, different type of fighters. And they all gave him trouble. Slick fighters from the southpaw though. So he's had issues with all these guys. And they said that Trout used, hold on. No, Canelo uses upper body movement to avoid shots against Trout. And they said Lara was running and stuff like that, moving. But as far as I see it, but this is what they say about Canelo's evolution versus southpaws. In 2013 to 2014, he was inconsistent against slick southpaws like Lara. Trout gave him real issues. 2015, 2021, improved. Better pressure, cutting the ring off, breaking down movers. 2023 till now, still effective, but movement-heavy southpaws remain his most stylistic challenge. Canelo struggles with slick, elusive southpaws like Lara, but he has grown smarter in breaking them down with body shots, timing, and pressure. His right hand and uppercut are especially dangerous weapons against lefties, and he has learned how to be more patient rather than chase them. You see, I pointed that out earlier. He has learned to be more patient than chase them. He was patient against William Skull. He didn't want to chase, but I don't think that's more patient. I think he don't have the legs to really do it. I don't think he really has the legs to chase a guy for that many rounds. I just don't. It's never been his thing. He's not athletic like that. It's something he could have worked on, but he's not really good at doing that. I think that's one of the reasons why Teofimo had to step in another direction, because Canelo tends to have the same kind of issues that Teofimo has against slick fighters. Even though he is a slick fighter himself, what people say, but he has trouble with slick fighters. Just because you're a slick fighter doesn't mean you know how to fight one. He said, this is what they say, if another slick southpaw like David Morrell or Dimitri Bivol were to face him, it would still present a challenge. Because Dimitri Bivol, and you know what the crazy part is? They didn't even put Dimitri Bivol on this list. And Dimitri Bivol was a southpaw. They didn't even put him on the list. They just put the guys Canelo beat. That's nasty. That's nasty, Chat GPT. Y'all didn't put Bivol on here? But it just shows that Canelo Alvarez struggles against guys who southpaws. He got too many tools. Shout out to J-Man. He got way too many tools in the toolbox. Canelo's preparing to fight him as a southpaw. He preparing to fight him as a southpaw. He bringing in southpaws to spar. Eddie Reynoso said we going strictly from the southpaw. We looking at him as a southpaw. He's not even thinking about Crawford as a right-hand fighter. He's thinking that the Crawford they have in the Majumdar fight, because Crawford his strong hand is left hand, even though he can work with both. He's stronger from the left southpaw position. So that's what Eddie Reynoso is looking for. He knows that what Crawford did against Majumdar, it might not look good to other people. I'm telling you, when I seen Crawford throw those like 4 or 5 uppercuts in a row, I was like, oh, that was something else that came out the bag. I don't know if people realize that. Crawford don't usually go to the uppercuts 4 or 5 times in a row like that against a power puncher. So yeah, that's something that Canelo's gonna have to watch out for. Because Canelo, he's not used to catching 4 or 5 uppercuts in a row. So if he thinks he's gonna just walk with the high guard and let me get in front of Crawford, you're gonna get 4 or 5 uppercuts. And hopefully you can get through that. But I think that Canelo's gonna have to try to bait Crawford into having a slugfest. Not as far as the whole fight, just be aggressive. See if you can try to bully Crawford. I know Crawford ain't going for that. Try to have a situation where you can have Crawford mentally, battling as far as trying to get an edge against him. Because I know Crawford's not a fighter who's going to try to go out there and let a guy like Canelo bully him. So he could try to have Crawford open up, but it's still going to be a bad situation because, like I said, Crawford's arms is longer than Bivol. Canelo had trouble with that style. Then I don't like how Canelo opened up against William Skull right here. This is dangerous. It might look good. This is dangerous. And you can tell in Canelo's face, he is extremely tired. But this right here, yeah, it's dangerous. If he steps to another thing that's dangerous with Canelo, like I said, Crawford has longer arms. Bivol's is 72-inch arm reach. Crawford is 74. And when you look at most of these pictures, or even the fight with and look, Canelo's in the high guard still, stuck in the high guard. Even getting punched in the face, he's still stuck in the high guard. I think everything chest area, the torso, I think Crawford gonna focus on the torso and try to push him back. Because with a guy like Canelo, he's gonna try to step to you until you push him back, and he's gonna use that leverage to try to fire something off on you. But Bivol, he was using his punches to push Canelo back. 1, 2, boom, 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 boom. He didn't start head hunting until like later on, but because Canelo's face wasn't bruised up like that. But he was going straight to the chest. You see how Canelo's his back, shoulders is red, his chest is red, his face is red, but Bivol's focusing on that back, liver shots, kidney shots to the chest. That's what Crawford got to do. Everything got to be straight down the middle. Use your reach advantage. Don't try to sit up here and let this short arm guy get his advantage by stepping in your space. So I think Crawford gonna have a good advantage of this. But if Crawford can do this from the southpaw position, I think Canelo's gonna be in a lot of trouble. Dude has not fought enough southpaws in his career. And it seems like he kind of tiptoes around the southpaws a little bit. And that's something I haven't really been looking into like that. Y'all know, I'm just starting to look into it now. I really just started looking into it recently because I wanted to do something like comparisons, like how do guys look against southpaws, Canelo, or I'll probably do the same thing with Crawford. How he looks against right hand guys or left hand guys. I'm gonna even probably do something to the point where I figure out how he knocks guys out. What hand he knocked the guys out with the right hand, left hand. We're gonna go through all that. I'm gonna figure out how many times he knocked the guy out with a right hook, a left hook. I'm gonna figure all that out before the week out. We're gonna focus heavy on this fight. So by the time everybody make a bet, they'll have their own conclusion, all the information they need. But yes, Canelo was. Shout out to Saba. What's going on? But yeah, if Crawford can keep them punches towards the chest with Canelo, people are not thinking about that. Crawford got long arms, man. I'm telling you, the only guys I've seen have long arms like Crawford is light heavyweights. I've seen cruiserweights and light heavyweights with shorter arms than him. But those are like the arm length you see with Crawford. That's a cruiserweight, a light heavyweight. That's how long his arms are. Like his arms is like past his knees almost, bro. Like he has some long arms. I don't know if people realize that, but and you got to realize he has power behind these punches. So not only does he have some of the longest arms, he's like the guy on Street Fighter. So not only he has some of the longest arms in the game, he has power in both hands. And he's switching sides. So if Canelo pushes him back on his left foot, he's gonna be able to throw a power punch from that foot. If he pushes him on the right foot, he's gonna be able to throw a power punch from that position. So really, Canelo's in a very bad position. Because not only are you facing a guy who's a southpaw who can switch, but then as you pushing him back, he can fire off at any time and knock you off your block. So if Canelo's going to push him back and try to pressure him, as soon as Crawford steps back, boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's playing with a lot of fire in that position. He's not realizing that, hey, the guy's off foot. You're thinking that he's in an off position, but really he's in position to fire off on you immediately. And then don't let Canelo lean forward with his head over. Then the uppercut's going to be dangerous. Then in the back of his mind, he's going to be thinking, okay, let me not. I think the uppercut is what's going to make this fight for Canelo more difficult, because then he's not going to be able to get in that space like he wants to. And he's going to be worrying about the shots coming down the middle. And then he's going to get desperate. Then he's not going to want to swing wide. So what is he going to throw? He's going to start trying to throw stuff down the middle, catch shots, counter punch. He's going to probably try to hope that Crawford is throwing more than he is so he can find openings. I think that's what Canelo is going to be looking for. He's going to be like, okay, let me try to get this guy in a position where he's throwing more than me. That's what he had with Billy Joe Saunders. With Billy Joe Saunders was throwing a lot of shots. But as I'm looking, Canelo's just looking for effective hooks and uppercuts. So I was like, oh, okay, he's taking his time with this as far as the Billy Joe situation. But with Crawford, he has a better chin than people realize. I think he's going to be able to have a better chin than Jermell Charlo, or just as good as Charlo. Charlo had an excellent chin against Crawford. I think that's going to be the same situation. So the size and power is not going to matter. I think with Canelo, he's going to have to improve his defense in this fight. He's going to have to make sure that his stamina for 12 rounds is very good. Him chasing William Skull, he didn't even chase William Skull and he was exhausted. Do y'all see how tired this dude was against William Skull? This dude was exhausted. Never in the Bivol fight he looked like this. Canelo was extremely tired against this guy. Extremely tired. And he looked smaller in this William Skull fight. No lie. Don't he look like a smaller guy? In this Bivol fight, he look like he in good shape. Toned up. In this fight, you know what I'm saying? So when people was talking about the Vada stuff, nah, I ain't too much worried about it, because by the way he's looking, he's right on schedule. He look like he testing very well right now in Vada. But he was exhausted from chasing this guy. So that lets me know he's definitely tested. He got so tired from chasing William Skull that he couldn't even talk really at the end of the fight. And he didn't really even chase him. William Skull was still standing right there, landing shots on Canelo, able to get the jab down the middle. And that frustrated him. So what if Crawford comes out there the first 3 rounds and fights like William Skull? Then the rest of the fight, Crawford just walking him down. That's gonna catch Canelo off guard so much. And to be honest with you, I would do that. The first 3 rounds, I'll run around the ring. Because I seen you the last fight get frustrated. And then after that, I'm finna walk you down the whole fight. Because the first 3 rounds, you're gonna say, I ain't do nothing because he was moving around. Then the last 9 rounds, I'm gonna walk you down and make sure that them first 3 rounds you were talking about, ain't nobody gonna ever remember them rounds. They're gonna be talking about rounds 4 through 12. I think that's what Crawford should do. Yeah, he's past it, bro. He's way past it, Sable. He passed it, bro. He waited. He aged himself out. It's a lot of guys aging themselves out. It's happening a lot. I think it probably was out of his control, probably. But he's aged himself out though. Got a lot of people around him that's calling the shots. He just started recently calling the shots for himself, but yeah, he don't look the same as far as I see. I feel like Crawford is in a. Even though I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm a Crawford fan. I ain't never been worried about Crawford losing no fight. But this ain't no guaranteed home run. But I'm confident that he's facing a Canelo that kind of aged himself out a little bit. If you want me to be completely honest, I don't think this is the same Canelo that fought even a Berlanga. Trust me, Canelo fought Berlanga over a year. Well, no, almost a year ago. Almost a year ago, and he doesn't look the same from the Berlanga fight that he did in the William Skull fight. And he moved around more with Berlanga. Berlanga was moving in that fight, but Berlanga had to knock down. But also Berlanga walked him down later in that fight. And just that little time period that Berlanga walked him down, that label of running was never put on Berlanga. Because of that little success he had on Canelo, walking him down and able to get them shots off, almost knocked Canelo out when he walked to the corner early. I think out of everything that happened in Canelo's last 5 years boxing, that let me know right there Canelo's tired, bro. That man almost got knocked out walking to the corner early because he heard the first bell for 10 seconds left. I said, Canelo never does that. Oh, this dude is tired. I'm like, oh, this dude gets tired now. I said, this dude, so I was like, he a vampire. I said, this dude gets tired. This dude almost got knocked out walking to the corner. I was like, yeah, that's not a good look, man. Something gonna end up happening to him. And if you go back and look at that Berlanga fight, I'm gonna break down everything you can look at as far as these fights. I would look at the first 2 rounds against Billy Joe. If I would watch those like 3 times. First 2 rounds, just watch them over and over. The reason why is because you see Canelo planting the seed out there. Okay, I'm gonna just let Billy Joe Saunders do what he wants. I can't really keep up with his rhythm, but I know that he's gonna be there for these uppercuts. If Billy Joe Saunders was smart, he would have stayed away from those hooks. He got happy with the hooks, and Canelo started to realize that. He was jabbing well, but he was off balance. His footwork was terrible. But his movement was good. But his footwork was terrible though in my eyes. It was a lot of times I seen Billy Joe Saunders moving, but he was moving so much and not really calculated moving that Canelo would just step in a certain spot and just be right there for a good shot. So I'm like, man, this dude is losing all his advantages by moving around. I think Billy Joe Saunders was actually more successful with the less he moved, because Canelo was wanting him to not use his advantage as far as his reach, and he fell into that trap. But as an aggressive fighter, if you're Canelo Alvarez, you let Canelo come to you. Canelo's the one who's bringing up the things about movement and guys running. You stay right there in the same spot and see what Canelo does as far as in the match. I know Crawford gonna move around a little bit, have some angles, but the pressure is already put on Canelo. If this dude sits here in the middle of the ring and you don't do nothing, I hope you know we're gonna point that out, right? I hope you know if Crawford is there to get hit and he's flat-footed in this fight, that's gonna be a problem for you. Because if they think, because I'm gonna tell you right now, there has been so many fights of guys running and moving around a lot in each country, each continent you can think of since Crawford fought Majramal. You've seen fighters run even more and more and more. And now with Crawford coming up to fight Canelo, he's not being called a runner because we've seen so much running going on. They actually hurt themselves by bringing that label up, the running rule and everything, because William Skull, he did that movement, but Crawford ain't finna move like that. So they damaged their own little narrative as far as the movement and guys running. Crawford doesn't move like that. So they can't even use that narrative going into the fight. It has to be something about his power is too much and everything else, because they know this dude's gonna be prepared to fight Canelo a lot better than William Skull did. And if you look at when Crawford was faced off with Canelo, that's when people realize, oh, Crawford's a big dude. This dude's huge. At the end of that William Skull fight, people realize, oh, he's huge. And he's not gonna fight like William Skull. And William Skull looked terrible his fight before Canelo. I'm telling y'all. If you go look at that fight before William Skull fought Canelo, he looked terrible in that fight. He looked bad in that fight. He actually looked better in my eyes in the Canelo fight. That's how bad he was in that fight before that. And a lot of people thought he lost the fight. But the movement in that fight didn't really punish. They didn't punish him for the movement in the fight before that. So that's why I said, man, it's gonna be a bad situation that Canelo's gonna be in if Crawford is not able to move around. If he's just gonna stand there in front of him. What's up, niece? What's going on? What's up, niece Flores? He said, Bud don't want to smoke with Boo Virgil, stepping in the ring for the money, and it's a fantasy fight. Nah, he ain't stepping in the ring for the money, dog. I'm gonna tell you who stepped in the ring for the money, Flores. Shout out to Flores. Flores, I'm gonna show you who stepped in the ring for the money. Let's see if you disagree. Shout out my dog Flores. Let's see if you disagree real quick. Shout out to Flat Out TV. What's up, Flat Out? I think gonna let me put it up there. Let me see if they let me pull it up, man. They out here. They out here heavy on your boy real quick. Let me see if they let me post it up real quick. I might have to make a whole new one. You said Crawford got a payday fight, right? We gonna see if Crawford got a payday fight. We gonna see. Because Triple G made 50. Hey Flores, did you know Triple G made $50 million fighting Canelo his last fight? Triple G last fight he ever had, he made $50 million fighting Canelo. Do you think Triple G is worth $50 million? Triple G made $50 million in boxing, bro. Everybody else gotta go. Your favorite fighter gotta go to Turkey Al-Sheikh to get $50 million. Triple G never had a fight with Turkey Al-Sheikh. He never will have a fight with Turkey Al-Sheikh. And the man made $50 million his last fight after he lost to Canelo Alvarez. Still made $50 million. Trust me, nobody in boxing cares about paydays. $50 million is disgusting. Andre Ward only made $30 million in his career. He only made $30 million in his career, and Triple G made $144 million. They won't even let me pull it up. That's how mad they is about me saying that. He made $144 million, man. Triple G made $144 million. He made $50 million his last fight. You telling me Triple G deserves a payday before Terrence Crawford? Who is he beat to the point where Triple G deserves $50 million? This ain't about the money, man. This is not about the money. Trust me. Triple G never deserved $50 million. So Terrence Crawford, he'll be all right. But as far as what this fight, Albert said, Bud reminds me of Bruce Lee. That's what I mean by quick pops. Canelo may have a tough chin, Bud go aim for his forehead, above the ears, the neck. Don't protect that. Yeah, you're right about that, Albert. No. He got $50 million in one fight. His last fight against Canelo Alvarez, after the John Ryder fight in 2022, he made $50 million on the zone. $50 million in one fight. Andre Ward hasn't made $50 million in his whole career. And this man fought Kovalev after Kovalev was taking people off this earth. And he got $50 million. 50. These dudes, they've been out here ruining careers. They really been out here ruining careers, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's nasty work, bro, in boxing. That's been going on. Guys ain't getting paid right now. That's why it's hard to get a boost in his verse. Virgil Ortiz, because the guys who've been in boxing longer than I have, they know that Triple G made $50 million after losing to Canelo. Yeah, you can't pay a loser $50 million and tell everybody else you need to work hard. I don't know about that. So yeah, that's the position they in right now with boxing. That's why boxing is in a position it is. When I first started this channel, the first thing I pointed out was Triple G earns way too much money, man. This is gonna hurt boxing, and it has. Ever since he's made $50 million, Turkey Al-Sheikh has had boxing in his hands. I want to say the next year after that, that's when Turkey Al-Sheikh did Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. And they could have, with that $50 million, they could have made 4 or 5 super fights in boxing, but they gave it all to Triple G. So the zone was really never invested in the big fights over here to begin with. The biggest fight they had I know of is Bivol and Canelo, and then they had Kambosos and Teofimo Lopez. Absolutely, but Terrence Crawford, he's going to be the most devastating puncher Canelo's been in the ring with. I will say that. Even coming from a lower weight class, guys get stronger as they move up. When you're used to fighting guys, it don't matter what weight class, a fighter's a fighter. It really doesn't matter at this point. And Terrence Crawford is one of the most talented fighters ever. I don't know if people know this or not. This is one of the best fighters ever. You'll never see a guy come from 35 to 47 knocking out everybody. I mean, Floyd couldn't even do that. Let's be real. I love Floyd. I was watching Floyd a long time. Been watching Floyd since 95, 96. 96. I've been watching Floyd since 96. Around that time, everybody was watching Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. And because of knockouts. So the boxing ability was never something that captured a lot of people's eye. when it comes to certain fighters like that. But with Terrence Crawford, he's a knockout artist, and he's getting treated like he's a 12-round fighter who just goes 12 rounds all the time. He's a knockout artist. Canelo has not been in the ring with someone like this. Has not. The mentality, a lot of guys that don't even fight in the weight class are talking about, oh, why would I go up and fight Canelo 2 weight classes? Why would Crawford do that? Jermell Charlo did it, but they just don't want Crawford to be great, man. Crawford can't even do it. They don't even want Crawford to do the same thing Charlo did. They don't think Crawford is better than Charlo. Leading into this fight, most people don't think Crawford is better than Charlo. Say what they can say what they want. They don't think he's better. No way you should be going into this fight saying, man, he's gonna get knocked out. I didn't think Charlo was gonna get knocked out. If you go back and listen to my video leading up to that fight, I said Charlo gonna end up going 12. I know it. I said he's gonna end up going 12. And it's not because Canelo has been letting guys go 12 lately. His mentality was go 12. And Terrence Crawford's mentality is going to be someone got to go. This is a Canelo fight. This isn't. See, everybody else doesn't look at a Canelo fight the way Terrence Crawford looks at a Canelo fight. I think that's where a lot of people kind of fall off a little bit. They don't look at a Canelo fight the way Terrence Crawford looks at it. He looks at a Canelo fight like, if I win this fight, nobody can say anything about me ever. If they do, they're going to hurt the sport of boxing forever. Because at this point, if Terrence Crawford does beat Canelo, people are going to say, oh, this is just a weak era of boxing. You know how that goes. They got to throw the whole sport under the bus just to get one correct answer right. Yeah, this era of boxing wasn't that good anyways. Stuff like that, bro. Yeah, he would have stopped Charlo. I actually think Earl Spence was better than Charlo. But I think Earl Spence was just at 47 way too long. Him being at 47, he made big fights, but he was the one who, and people are saying, oh, he just wants to stay at 47. Nah, he just wanted to make a fight with Terrence Crawford, which was what helped save boxing. To be honest with you. If you look back, you still got guys, man, look, Earl Spence saved boxing with that Crawford fight. This fight wouldn't even be happening right now if it weren't for him. So I definitely got to give him credit. He's done things. That's why I can't give Charlo credit for stuff like that. Like, oh, well, you trying to diminish what Earl Spence did by saying what Crawford ain't and how he wasn't that good. And nah. Then people were saying he was too small. He said Crawford looking at Canelo like his ticket to goathood. It is. It is. He definitely said that. He said, man, if I go up 2 weight classes and beat Canelo, nobody can say anything about me. That's all he's thinking about. That's all he's thinking about. I haven't seen him this motivated for a fight. I know that the Earl Spence fight he was motivated for, but with this Canelo fight, it's the same kind of narratives before the Earl Spence fight. This is the wrong way to motivate this guy. His mama been talking to him like this all his life, motivating him. So fans, anybody else saying that, it's not really a big deal. He just takes it as a challenge. That's the crazy part. Well, people gonna realize they're gonna see the fight. They're gonna be like, man, it wasn't just a payday to him. Nah, it wasn't just a payday. It definitely wasn't just a payday. That's what a lot of people gonna realize after he fights Canelo. It wasn't just a payday. And they're gonna realize too, Canelo's gonna have to do it more in this fight than he's usually done in past fights. He can't do the same thing he did against William Skull and say, oh, I won. That's not gonna happen. And the fact that he's actually going into this fight thinking that he actually did something in the William Skull fight, and he fought that type of way, I don't like fighters who can turn it on and turn it off. Oh well, I can fight good I can knock out Kovalev, but let me just against William Skull, I don't feel like cutting off this ring. Do you not have the stamina to cut off the ring, or do you not have the ability to cut off the ring? Because it seemed like you didn't have both. It seemed like he didn't have the ability to cut off the ring, and his stamina was gassed. His stamina looked bad against Berlanga. And then you got to realize this too. If you look at the Munguia fight from Munguia to Berlanga, it looked like his stamina got worse from the Munguia fight to the Berlanga fight. So that's why I'm kind of looking at Canelo like he has a lot of things that aren't the same as they used to be. Whether that was due to past usage of illegal material or whatever, but at this point, he said Canelo thinks guys should just let him win because it's Canelo. Yeah, a lot of people are don't realize that's been going on for a while. He's been getting a lot of wins just because he's Canelo. A lot of them. A lot of them. Even guys been intimidated. That's not his fault that guys were intimidated. But a lot of guys have been intimidated by him in the ring. Because of the fighting style. I don't think it's just because of the name. A lot of these guys don't want to fight that kind of style. They're not ready to fight that kind of style. Take certain shots. When Charlo was taking certain uppercuts and hooks from Canelo, and Canelo stepping to him. Because you got to realize, too, Brian Castano did the same thing against, and I hate to bring this out, but I'm going to say this, too. Brian Castano did the same type of things against Charlo that Canelo did. But one thing I realized is Charlo had another gear he could have went to. When he fought Castano that second time, Castano came out the same style, the same pressure, but Charlo went to that another level that he could have went to against Canelo. The thing about the difference between Charlo and Crawford, it ain't gonna take Crawford 2 fights to get to that next level. Once he steps in the ring with Canelo, he gonna have his best. You gonna have the best version of Crawford. He gonna let his hands go. He gonna try to do everything he can. It's not gonna be one strategy he's gonna leave out. Every game plan that he's gonna try to go through, he's gonna go through all of them. People are gonna realize what he's actually trying to do, and he's gonna stay off the ropes. I think both of those guys are gonna try to stay off the ropes. A lot. It's gonna be a lot of movement. You know, the ring is only so big, but I think they're both gonna try to stay off the ropes because that'll be bad for both of them. But I want to see Canelo's legs, man, really cut off the ring because he's not using his legs to cut off the ring as much lately. Like he did against Berlanga. Berlanga was moving a lot. He wasn't like William Skull laterally moving, but he was bagging up and catching them with certain shots. And I realized that too. Berlanga, he did something smart with Canelo. He was, like I said, the only thing I can see Crawford actually taking from Berlanga fight is how Berlanga kind of baited Crawford into certain situations, like being on the back foot early. Then I know him getting knocked down made him start to move a lot more aggressive after that. But when he started to be a lot more aggressive, that's when Canelo bagged off. Canelo knocking down Crawford in a fight. Crawford getting dropped in this fight would actually be bad news for Canelo, to be honest with you. Because it seems like when Canelo knocks guys down now and guys kind of just go into that rage, Canelo really don't got no answers for it. So he's kind of just going with the flow. I'm going to be honest with you. Berlanga had Canelo going with the flow after a while. Berlanga was hitting him with a lot of power shots. His work rate had Canelo tired. He had Canelo throwing more jabs than he did. Canelo almost landed like 100 jabs. And Canelo usually don't jab as much as he did against Berlanga. He just doesn't. So I don't know if he had in the back of his mind that that's something he needs to work on, or he was just using it to survive. But in my mind, he was using that to keep Berlanga off of him. And like I said, against Munguia, man, this dude was landing 50% of his shots. 50%. In the 8th round, he landed 50%. 9th round, 56. 10th, 52. 11, 7%, and then 12, 47%. The reason why I point this out is 2 fights later, 7 months later, Munguia was knocked out in Mexico. And Canelo was landing 50% of his punches in 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. And couldn't get the guy up out of there. And he was landing 50% of his power punches in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 rounds against Munguia. Didn't go to the body as much. Him and Munguia went punch for punch as far as to the body. Munguia had 49, he had 50. I'm not too afraid of Canelo's power against Crawford. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Not really too much worried. If Crawford ain't got a better chin than Munguia and Berlanga, that'll be breaking news to me. I'm just being. I know it's different fighters, different situations. I know. You can get caught with anything. I know that. But man, talking about the circumstances lately, I mean, the guys got knocked out by 160s. I can't ignore that Canelo's opponents last year got knocked out by 160s, both of them. That's something that never happens in boxing. The face of boxing fights 2 guys, then a year later, both of them got knocked out by a guy who's a weight class below them that came up. Yeah, Crawford's gonna be able to flourish in this role against Canelo Alvarez. Him struggling with 160s is, his opponent struggling with 160s and getting knocked out by 160s. You said I'm biased? No, I'm not biased, bro. I'm not biased. If I was biased, I would have said that this Crawford and Canelo fight would never happen. I'm not biased. This fight has actually happened. I think the people who said this fight is never happening and that Terrence Crawford is too small and that he ain't fought nobody and that Triple G is worth $50 million to fight Canelo after losing once and having a draw the other time. I think that that's bias. Now, if I believed all that, I would be a fanboy. It ain't no reason to be biased. You know what I'm saying? Why would you? I just tell the facts over here. See, what happens in boxing is people look for me to be biased and to be a fanboy, but you can look at my channel. You don't know who my favorite fighters are. They're going to say the black guy. That's everybody's favorite fighter is the black guy. They want all their favorite fighters to fight the black guy, so that's not a good answer. Even people want to see Canelo fight black fighters. People want to see Tank Davis fight black fighters. So it's not really biasness in boxing. It's just people look for certain reasons. If a Mexican supports a Mexican, that's considered bias. So I think the bias word is used too much in boxing. It has to have real value. It's thrown around too much. But technically, if a Mexican just supports a Mexican because he's Mexican and he represents the same flag, that's technically being biased. Right? You got to think of certain things like that. Canelo wouldn't be taking this fight right now if it wasn't. His fans didn't want him to take this fight. The people that say that fans hate Canelo, they asked Canelo to fight Terrence Crawford. You know what Canelo's fans asked Canelo to do? Nothing. So actually, I'm more of a Canelo fan than the Canelo fans are. They don't care about Canelo's career. They don't care that Canelo is going to let David Benavidez have some of the biggest fights the next 5 or 6 years, and that people know that what weight Benavidez is at right now, and what weight class he should be at, what opponents he should be fighting. They're lining him up with Usyk and Ja Pataya and Bitterbill and Bivol. I mean, people don't know it, but fans are going to actually make people like Benavidez resume better by not liking Canelo. People not liking Benavidez. People hating Benavidez is actually making Benavidez's resume look extremely uncomparable at this point. You're not gonna be able to compare any other Mexican fighter to Benavidez at this point, just because people don't like him. Oh, fight Morrell. Oh, fight this guy. Fight this guy. Man, y'all are beefing this dude's resume up. Pump the brakes. At this point, he should be making $50 million. Right now, I could say Benavidez got a better resume than Triple G. No disrespect, but facts are facts. So thank God that Terrence Crawford is fighting Canelo Alvarez, because nobody else is willing to. Everybody else they got in the ring with Canelo, they just want to get a payday. Berlanga and all these other guys got paydays, and they don't have any expectations now. I'm hearing these guys still being named for big fights. They still talking about Munguia and Berlanga being the big fights. So really, I think all of this is hurting Canelo's career. Canelo fighting Crawford saved his career. If anybody who lives in Mexico, people who actually live in Mexico, who's in Mexico right now, the number one requested fight for the past 2 years has been Canelo versus Crawford in Mexico. I don't know about America, because America ain't got standards. In Mexico, the number one requested fight has been Terrence Crawford versus Canelo. That's what Mexican people in Mexico. In America, Mexicans over here, I don't know if they got expectations for Canelo. What's up, Dark Kent? What's going on, dog? Yeah, I'm finna hop off in the middle in a little bit. I just gotta do these lives for everybody that subscribe, man. You know what I'm saying? Put this information out here. I know people ain't really had no deep breakdowns with this Crawford and Canelo fight. And it's a lot of information I'm put out about Canelo that's going to be helpful too. Like I just told you guys, Canelo's landing 50% of his punches after the 8th or 9th round. That is dangerous. He's jabbing a lot more. He out-jabbed Berlanga, Berlanga looked like he was jabbing the whole fight. He out-jabbed him as far as landing the jabs. I don't know as far as the jabs thrown. I think Canelo threw a lot of them, but as far as his jabs thrown, it's up there. So he coming out there to box as well. People gonna be surprised by that, but that is something they probably gonna use to highlight and say, "Oh, look, Canelo's giving us a different look." It's not a different look. They probably gonna say that during the commentary. Oh, look at Canelo's using his jab against Crawford. He was using his jab against Berlanga and against Munguia. Canelo has a very good jab. He just doesn't use it a lot because the reach advantage, and a lot of times when he's facing these power punchers like a Charlo or Kovalev, you can't really, or even like a Bibble, even though he's like a strictly just a power puncher, he's a boxer. But you can't just sit there and open yourself up like that. That's why a lot of times you ain't seeing Canelo move around and jab that much. He's keep playing it safe, single shots, 1-2s, not really. He'll probably double some up, but he's not leaving himself out there with combinations, and that's what he's gonna run into trouble at. And I don't know if he has enough to do body work and try to go upstairs with Crawford. He said, "I'll say Madrimov is way tougher than Berlanga and Munguia. Madrimov is a brick wall. That's why Bud chose to fight him with Canelo." People don't realize that Madrimov is a very big guy. He actually fought a lot of these 168s you see right now. Not Canelo, but Madrimov actually fought, what's the guy's name? Laces and Glacies. So Madrimov's been fighting at 168 for years. For years. He's already a 168. And that's why Crawford really stepped in the ring with him. That guy's already fought at 68. He did his homework. And he was very hard to deal with. And if you look at the fight with Virgil Ortiz and Madrimov, Virgil Ortiz had a lot of damage on him after that Madrimov fight. A lot. He had a lot of damage on his body. And he had a slow start in that fight. Yeah, Crawford would get Skull problems, man. Skull looked bad. Y'all remember that Shiskin fight before Skull fought Canelo? That dude was, I think it was like the 11th round. This dude spit out his mouthpiece so he can get an extra some extra rest. I was like, what? I said, this the guy Canelo finna fight? Still just spit out his mouthpiece so the fight can go on longer. That's what makes me. It's like I don't know how do I explain this? Canelo's opponents did so many bad things before and after he fought them recently. Skull spitting out a mouthpiece so he could survive against a guy that not really that good. Kind of like Steve Claggett almost. Shiskin. Kind of reminds you of Steve Claggett. Then he goes and sees Berlanga get knocked out after he fought him by 160 and Munguia get knocked out by 160. If Crawford had opponents that was doing stuff like that, people will say, oh, Crawford's getting knocked out. That's why it seems biased going into the fight, because people know that Canelo's opponents recently have been looking terrible, and you really can't find these guys doing anything successful after after they fought Canelo. Caleb Plant does some things well, but we've seen what happened to him recently. Even though his activity he hasn't fought in a long time. So has Terrence Crawford though. Terrence Crawford was out a long time. He was out longer than Caleb Plant was. And he still didn't look as rusty as Caleb Plant did recently. And Caleb Plant just fought. I told people last year though, when Caleb Plant fought McCombie, I said, bro, he's rusty. I said, he squeezed by. It was a good fight to people, but he looked rusty in that fight, man. Like I don't know if it's activity or what, but I think it was part of activity, but I'm like, he's rusty in this fight, man. I don't really trust that. And I know Caleb Plant has been in a couple of wars since then. But Canelo's opponents have been looking a little sloppy since he fought him. I'll just say that, especially Berlanga and Munguia. Like, man, Dimitri Bivol is the only one that's really did. So we haven't seen Charlo since. Yeah, man. Cullen Smith, he's still in the game, doing some good things. But when you really look at his resume, you're like, man. That's why I said the other day, like, for Canelo to call Lara a runner, bro, you're not getting credit for that win. You're not getting credit for that win. And it was only one judge that gave Berlanga. I mean, not Berlanga. The judge that gave Lara the win. It was one judge that gave Lara the win for the Canelo fight. He's the only judge in boxing that's in the Hall of Fame. Think about that, y'all. The only judge that gave Lara the win against Canelo Alvarez is the only judge that's in the Boxing Hall of Fame. Shout out to Jerry Roth. Stand-up guy. He ain't like Moretti. Dave Moretti is a terrible guy. He's horrible. And please quit doing Canelo fights. This dude, Jerry Roth, though, he didn't let nobody tell him what his score was going to be. That guy was unbiased. Jerry Roth had a 113, 115 for Lara. Those judges better have it together, bro. I'm telling you. Matter of fact, I might have to write some names down and figure out who I need to look out for. But yeah, a guy gave him a 115. Canelo turns around. Man, Lara was running. So the guy, Jerry Roth, we need judges like that. You said Lubin stopped Berlanga in sparring. I didn't know that. Yeah, and the guy, Jerry Roth, that judge, he retired like 2020, 2022 or something like that. 80 years old, he had to hang it up. Oh, yeah, but you said Bud Lubin in sparring? I seen when he was sparring Adames. Either way, these can't mess with Bud. I seen when Adames, he said the video of Spence stopping playing. I ain't see the video of Spence stopping playing. I said that. That might have been a mistake if I said that. What? I didn't know that, Saba. Wow, I didn't know that. There's a video of Plant saying that about Spence. Yeah, Spence is a dog, man. You said, do you believe Canelo really exposed his game plan for the fight against Bud? I don't buy it. Yeah, I think so because um, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why Canelo actually is exposing his game plan. I'm gonna tell you exactly why I believe he is. When Canelo steps to the this was a reporter from Mexico that was reporting him. I think it was Box Texas or something like that. And when he goes down there, he usually tells the truth. I'll just tell you that. When he goes and sits in front of these guys, and him and Ed Reynoso didn't also they didn't interview together. They interviewed separately. And they both said a lot of good things that made sense. Like Canelo does horrible against southpaws. They're scared of the southpaw position. He should be scared because history shows that all of his close fights have been against southpaws, from Lara, Trout, Bivol. The only one, Billy Joe Saunders, he got stopped, but he had some trouble with him. Kirkland, he stopped him. So every fight that Canelo's had that was close was a southpaw. So he needs to be very afraid. And what would you say? Is Crawford more of a guy like Billy Joe Saunders as far as boxing ability, or is he more so like a Bivol? Bivol says Crawford's IQ is better than him. He feels like Crawford's a smarter fighter than he is. Usyk said that as well. He feels like Crawford's a better fighter than him and smarter. Said just the things he does, how he picks up certain things. Because Crawford, if you realize, Crawford don't really go for the knockouts, man. I want people to watch a fight that Crawford has, Felix Diaz. That's when I knew that Crawford, the dude he has some anger issues. Crawford, he fought this dude named Felix Diaz. And I was like, okay, Crawford just gonna knock this guy out. You know what I'm saying? This fight gonna be over with. Crawford was beating this dude so bad that I think you can hear the dude squealing in the ring. I think Felix Diaz, this guy was a gold medalist. I think this guy was squealing in the ring like a pig when Crawford was destroying him. He wasn't trying to knock him out. He was keeping him up. I'm like, bro, this dude is dangerous. Who is this guy? I'm like, he's beating this guy so bad, he's holding him up. Bro, he ended that man's career. Let me just say that. The dude fought like 1 or 2 times after that. He was never the same. Ended the man's career. Crawford has been ending careers. He's either ended careers or he's knocked guys out for the first time. The only thing I can say what Crawford and Canelo has in common, they both end careers. I will give Canelo credit on this because I don't be faking it. I don't know if I don't know if he ruined Munguia and Berlanga in that fight. I didn't see enough damage for that to actually happen. I didn't feel like Munguia and Berlanga had that much damage in the fight for them to be ruined or not the same. But I don't know, man. John Ryder ended up retiring right after that. He felt like he got better after the Canelo fight, and that dude was never the same. He retired right after he fought Munguia. And then Munguia ended up stopping him. So by the time Munguia stopped him, I was saying to everybody, I don't know about that knockout because I feel like John Ryder was probably done by the time he got to Munguia. So it looks like on paper that Canelo finishing these dudes' careers, and they ain't the same. Even if he's not knocking them out, dudes ain't really walking out of the ring the same way. So that's why the Crawford and Canelo fight is different, because they're not just knocking people out, boxing and going in there and going through the flow. No, they're ending guys' careers. Most guys, that's their last paycheck. They're trying to find a big fight. They're trying to survive. A lot of guys can't take a punch no more. A lot of guys ain't really the same when they get in the ring. They don't have the same confidence. It's just a lot of things that go into play when you fight these guys. It's not just, oh, it's a knockout. Nah, you possibly not gonna be the same. And that's been, if you see their resumes, and I'm gonna tell you one thing, like I pointed out the other day about Canelo's resume. If these guys are actually the same when they step out of the ring and they just can't handle the payday, that's worse. That's worse than Canelo ended their careers. So hopefully he is for his let me just say, to help him out. Hopefully he is in the careers, because if he's just giving guys paydays and they can't go on no more, they don't got the motivation to keep boxing, that's horrible. That means you fighting guys who you ain't supposed to be in the ring with. You fighting guys you ain't supposed to be in the ring with. Pacquiao made all this money. He's still out here trying to fight. And he ain't fighting like he's trying to get a check. So yeah, I'm confused by that. That's why when you look at Canelo's resume, it's like you don't got a lot of guys on there that's trying to take your head off, it seems like. Because no way these guys is getting paid by you and they don't want to box no more. But then you hear guys lose to Canelo and say, man, I want to get another Canelo payday. They don't say, hey, let me try to get a championship belt. Let me try to be a champion again and put this pressure on Canelo. I think I heard Plant say that. But the rest of these guys, I'm just trying to get another Canelo payday. So it's not really good when you look at Canelo's resume. You're like, man, you ain't got a lot of self-motivated guys on this resume. Danny Jacob made you look good. Kovalev did. Danny Jacob really helped Canelo's resume. Kovalev did. But when you look at it, it's like, man, these guys weren't really the same after they fought him. I think Kovalev was already on his way out anyways. So yes, Canelo has, one thing I know is Terrence Crawford is not like these guys he has on his resume. So it could be worse than what we think. Canelo can go out there and get stopped in the middle of this fight because he's been fighting guys who just been getting paychecks and they don't even box no more. Terrence Crawford, almost 40 years old, trying to fight the best. That's two different kind of. You don't got no guys like that on Canelo's resume. Nobody, except Lara, and that was a long time ago. I ain't finna talk about 10 years ago. You got Danny Jacobs on there, and that's about it. And Miguel Cotto at the end of his career, though. Yeah, so he ain't got a lot of guys on here where it's just like, yeah, I can. Nah, Canelo might go in here and see a different kind of animal across the ring. I can't compare nobody on this resume to Terrence Crawford. Because to be honest with you, I still think, and this might sound dumb, I still think that Charlo and Spence is a close fight when it really happens. Because Brian Castano is not no guy who could just have close, even fights with Charlo and then hop in the ring with Terrence Crawford and he going to go 12 rounds with him and it's going to be close. Nah, Terrence Crawford would have finished him off. They would have never stuck a guy like Brian Castano in the ring with him. That's why I'm saying it might be just Terrence Crawford's at a whole nother level. And maybe everybody's psychologically trying to dumb down his skills and his abilities and what he's been doing and the last fight he had. But I don't think, to be honest with you, and then people don't realize this, that dude Madrimov, he's already fought guys who's big names in boxing. A lot of people don't know these guys, but they're already big names as far as in the boxing world. He's already fought a lot of these guys in the amateur and beat the brakes off of them. So that was the first time, really, that anybody beat him up like that. What Terrence Crawford did. That took all his confidence away. All of his confidence away. Once you see a guy get beat like that, he's not going to be the same. It's almost like Jay Cutler with the Bears. Once bro got on that little bike when he was riding, that was it. He wasn't the same after that. And a lot of guys in that position. You said Crawford gonna retire? Yeah, he gonna retire. He ain't finna stick around. What's up, Tommy T? What's going on, dog? You said Bud is a Sugar Ray Leonard, in my opinion. Yeah, Sugar Ray was a different kind of guy. But I think that Bud, man, I don't know, man. We might see a different kind of. I know we've seen a lot of fights with Terrence Crawford. But like I said, man, Terrence Crawford, he didn't get the Mayweather fight. He didn't get the Pacquiao fight. This is the first legendary fight he's really getting. I haven't seen Terrence Crawford fight a legend yet. So for him to get in the ring and fight a legend in boxing, it's not like the same as what Terrence Crawford is looking at it like, man, I'm finna fight Canelo. Canelo's looking at it like, this dude ain't fought nobody. He already said it. You can't even fake that. When Canelo said that, man, this dude ain't fought nobody. To have that kind of mentality, but then to turn around and say, hey, Crawford gonna bring the best out of me that I haven't seen before. My whole career, everything I've done leading up to this fight has prepared me for this fight. And you're gonna see everything that I've been preparing my whole career for. So when he says that, it's like it's too much back and forth with it. You know what I'm saying? He's not standing on anything firm. You said Majramov KO Fedor in sparring? Wow. Yeah, Majramov is a beast, bro. And shout out to my dog PD. PD said that Majramov had that bronchitis that made him pull out of that bull chuck fight. And then Virgil Ortiz fight, he still had bronchitis. But, you know, I didn't use it as an excuse. Virgil Ortiz got the win. He got the win. In my eyes, he should have just let Boychuk take the fight if he was still sick. Yeah, Sean Porter beat Usyk. Yeah, a lot of them matchups, man. He says Virgil Ortiz beat Majramov in a more convincing way than Terrence Crawford. Now, Virgil Ortiz's face was destroyed after that Majramov fight. No, Virgil Ortiz. We talked about that a couple of days ago. We compared the two fights. Virgil Ortiz's face was destroyed after that fight. Yeah, Virgil Ortiz his face was in bad condition. You don't remember he had all the bandages on his face? Virgil Ortiz's face was, bro, he had bruises on his nose. He had a cut across his nose. He had cuts on his eyes. His eyes was black. You don't remember that? You can look it up. But yeah, but Majramov beat the brakes off of him though. He almost had two black eyes. He had a cut across his nose, and he had a cut over above his left eye. And those guys wasn't hugging in that fight. I don't know if anybody noticed it. They wasn't hugging and clenching that much. But his face he had two black eyes that was not all the way black. He had a cut across his nose. He had a cut over his left eyebrow. Yeah, he got the brakes beat off him. He won the fight. More convincing? Nah. No, sir. No, sir. If Virgil Ortiz want to convince me, he can fight Boychuk again. He ain't got no fight right now. As long as he got Boychuk problems, I can't trust him. Like old boy said, what the coach from the 49ers said, can't win with him. Nah, I don't trust that. Yeah, Boychuk beat the brakes. I'm gonna be honest with y'all too. The fact that everybody kind of just sweeps fast, Boychuk giving Virgil problems and dropping him twice, that's not gonna help him. He gonna run into a situation like Berlanga and Munguia. Don't push him to the front like that. I'm telling you, it's a lot of guys if you getting pushed to the front. I don't want to see him be in that position because I think Virgil Ortiz is a good fighter. He'll fight anybody. But don't push him to the front, please. Let him develop. If he ain't ready, he ain't ready. But trying to chase Terrence Crawford, that's going to end your career. We already seen Tim Tszyu just do it. And everybody talking about he need to retire. I think Tim Tszyu got 2 losses, and everybody say he need to hang it up. So with Virgil Ortiz, I would pump the brakes, and I would say, hey, I don't know if you know it or not, but they asking right now, they got all the attention on Jaron Ennis to do everything at 154. You was already at 154. Okay? Jaron Ennis gonna fight twice before Virgil Ortiz fight his next fight. So all that waiting on boosts and stuff, bro, 154 is loaded. Figure it out. I got on here live after that Tim Tszyu fight. I said, bro, please don't do Tim Tszyu like that. Because I like Tim Tszyu. I'm a fan of Tim Tszyu. He got whooped. It is what it is. He got in the ring, though. Hey, Tim Zoo, all I promised everybody was Tim Zoo gonna get in the ring. I said he gonna get in the ring. I don't know about the boxing ability as far as him being the best. I said he gonna get in the ring though. Right now, Tim Zoo has a better resume than Virgil Ortiz. I said he got in the ring though. So yeah, that's what I'm on, man. I'm more of a fan that guys that get in the ring, bro. That's what we on these days. Is that? Yeah, 154 is deep. And you got guys leaving 54 still deep. I think Crawford coming to 154 was a blessing in disguise, though. It brought so much attention to that division. I was telling people 2 years ago, I was like, bro, Charlo has so many options at 54. People was like, nah, he needs to move up to 160. I said, what are you doing? Why does he need to go to 160 when you have Lubin and all these guys at 54? Ramos, Zayas, Fundora, all these guys at 54. Baccarat was his mandatory 3 or 4 years ago. And this dude fought Castano. I'm like, nah, that ain't it, homie. I'm like, this dude, he could have fought Baccarat and you fought Charlo's mandatories with Baccarat, then it was Tim Zoo, then he fought Castano again, then he signed a contract that promised Baccarat that he was gonna fight him. Never fought him again. Then, or he was gonna get stripped. Then Baccarat ended up fighting Tim Zoo, which was Charlo's second mandatory. They fought each other. And now you got what's going on now. But yeah, to be honest with you, Terrence Crawford should be in the GOAT conversation just because he got to fight everybody else mandatory. Yeah, Baccarat a beast, bro. I slept on him. I think I picked Tim Zoo. But what I did say leading up to that Baccarat and Tim Zoo fight that scared me was, I said, this dude is a big dude, bro. I was like, I just don't know. He looked bad his last fight. But man, he looked like a big dude. The dude was huge. He reminded me like a mini Kovalev or something. I was like, this dude is huge for 54. This dude's a 154? I kept saying that leading up to the fight. I'm like, this dude a 154? So when Tim Zoo came out there trying to knock him out, I'm like, bro, you tripping. That ain't no average 154. You ain't finna knock him out. You better off trying to knock out Fundora. Yeah, Boots and Zayas and Ortiz, they're gonna have 154 jumping. But I think the most dangerous person right now is Fundora. I don't know what it is about Fundora, but him getting the belt is he one of those guys when he gets a belt, it's hard to beat him. Like for real. You said a Beterbiev? Oh, that's a good comparison. But Baccarat's not really a power puncher like that. He's more of like a boxer, but yeah, I understand what you're saying with that though. Because Beterbiev is a boxer too. Yeah, yeah, that's a good comparison. That's a better comparison. I'll say that. Yeah, you're right. See, insulated with duck fur. Dark Kid said, "You gonna get me insulated with duck fur." That's funny. Boy, that's funny. You gotta say that one. That's funny. Hey, Saba, that's funny. Yeah, the Fundora getting knocked out by Brian Mendoza and fight Leuven. I forgot how young he was, but him doing that was amazing, to be honest with you. That's what I want Virgil Ortiz to kind of go through right now. That's why I kind of trust Fundora a little bit more. Because Virgil Ortiz is doing the same thing with the Majramov and Boachuk fight. Them still two tough fights. I ain't taking that away from him. Those still two tough fights. But Fundora, man, he just the way he switches up his boxing ability, then he goes this fight with Tim Zoo. I'm gonna stop this guy. Goes out there and stops him. Fundora, he could just switch it up too much now. What everybody wanted him to do early, just box and then try to knock guys out. Early on he was doing Mexican style. Everybody like, man, what is this guy doing? But now he's boxing a lot more. He knows when to turn it on, turn it off. He's dangerous, and he's still young, and he's getting stronger. And I'm gonna tell y'all something else too that showed me that Fundora is a different kind of guy. Tim Tszyu had came up to Fundora. I want to say it was like Wednesday or Thursday before they fought the first fight, because he found out that he was fighting Tim Tszyu late. And I think he was in some kind of lobby area or somewhere eating a pizza or something. Fundora was eating a slice of pizza, bro, before he was finna fight this guy. Before the weigh-ins, this man was eating slices of pizza. He was like 150 or whatever, eating slices of pizza. Tim Tszyu like, bro, you gonna make weight? We got a fight coming up. You know what Fundora said to him? Don't worry about me. I got this. And Fundora was 25, 24, Tim Tszyu 29. No, he's 25 and Tim Tszyu was 29. He like, don't worry about me. I got this. I said, hold on, this dude can make 147? That's the first thing I thought of. I said, hold on, this dude can make 147? Oh my God, what if he was at 147? I said, this dude 3 pounds away from 147. He's eating the cheese. He's eating the cheese pizza before he about to fight Tim Tszyu. I said, oh my God, this dude's a killer. Do I think one time got a chance against Fundora? Yep, absolutely. Because one time throws that right hand like Mendoza throws. Because before I had a YouTube channel, the only person I had picked Fundora to lose to was Brian Mendoza, because Brian Mendoza one of the hardest punchers at 54. He punches harder than probably everybody at 54. I'm telling you, he punches that hard. Brian Mendoza is one of the hardest punchers in boxing. So when I seen that, I was like, man, if he can catch Fundora with that right hand, because Fundora was doing that walk up and walking forward stuff against guys, trying to walk them down every time. I'm like, wow, Fundora just stand up high, walking guys down. He's already tall. I was like, he gonna get knocked out doing that. And I said Mendoza gonna end up knocking him out. And Mendoza ended up knocking him out. And after that, the next fight when he fought Tim Tszyu, I ended up picking Fundora against Tim Tszyu. I said Fundora gonna come out boxing. Ended up beating Tim Tszyu. So I think Keith Thurman got a chance because that movement he has, where he ducks low, Fundora's gonna be trying to reach and throw those punches low and everything, because he has to kind of reach to throw these punches. But I think Keith Thurman has the movement and things like that, the experience to kind of move around a tall guy like Fundora. And you got to realize Keith Thurman has always fought taller guys. I think Keith Thurman is one of those people who actually fights better against taller guys than shorter guys. Like how he fought against Sean Porter, who's a shorter guy, Pacquiao. He struggles against shorter guys. He's not used to being the taller guy. So I think with him fighting a taller guy, it would definitely benefit Keith Thurman. He needs to be able to throw a punch and land and hit anything, an arm, anything. So I think he's going to be able to take advantage like that on Fundora. And Fundora arms are long, so Keith Thurman can get in there, get a couple of shots off, get out of there. Fundora still has that reach. A lot of guys tend to want to stand in front of Fundora and prove that they can walk him down and go shot for shot with Fundora, like Tim Tszyu did in that fight. When Tim Tszyu was moving around, throwing those power shots on Fundora the last fight, he won that round. But when he tried to stand in one spot and go shot for shot with him, he ended up getting stopped. And I think a lot of guys try to do that. And I think even when Lubin was boxing Fundora, when Lubin was turning angles, that's when he started to drop Fundora. I think that what Keith Thurman is going to have to do is the same thing that Lubin was doing before they stopped the fight against him with Fundora. But I think that Fundora is going to come out and box a little bit early, but he's going to try to press the gas on Keith Thurman because he knows that he has ring rust. He hasn't been in the ring that much. Fundora is going to be the more active, younger guy. He's going to use his reach and height advantage. But I think that Keith Thurman has that looping right hand that could just get Fundora in a bad position. I don't know if Fundora did anything to he still makes that same mistake. He did it against Tim Tszyu, where he got a little too aggressive and he opened up, and the chin was just opening. And to be honest with you, who knows if Fedor got a chin? He got cracked on the chin against Mendoza, flush on the chin. That man looked at the referee and just said, "I can't even get up. Can't even get up." Told him, "I can't even get up, man." So he can catch him, but it's gonna be hard to do, man. Fedor ain't playing. Like I said, that dude is right now he's the scariest boxer in the game right now. I don't think this dude wants to. He's in a situation, bro. Like I don't like to compare other sports, but him and his sister, what they got going on right now, it reminds me of like Reggie Miller and his sister when they used to compete. She used to be like, "Oh, I got 100 today. I got this. I got that." That's what it looks like. Because his sister said before he fought for Tim Tszyu, "Oh, he's gonna stop Tim Tszyu, guaranteed." So they at the house talking about, "Hey, I'm finna stop this guy. I'm finna stop." That's a different kind of ball game, bro. When you that competitive and you really grow up in a boxing family, then you trying to out your sister's undisputed and you trying to become undisputed. When all those things come into play, Fedor is dangerous right now. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. And he's getting older, stronger. He's putting on real muscle now. He's starting to be a lot more solid. Man, I'm telling you, that dude's dangerous. Yeah, Thurman fighting 2 times in 6 years. It's not good. Then the last Australian guy was getting some good shots off on him. And that guy, he's a good fighter, but he's young though. He's young, not really a lot of experience. I think that Fedor with that same game plan that the dude had against Keith Thurman last fight, Keith Thurman possibly gets stopped like that. But Keith Thurman, he knows that he has to show up this next fight. The way he was doing these last few fights where he was just trying to get by and box guys. You can't get in the ring with someone who can brawl and just think it's going to be a boxing type of fight all day. You can do that, but Keith Thurman is not a guy who usually sticks to just boxing the whole 12 rounds. He'll mix it up a little bit, and that's why I think Fedor going to try to take advantage of it. Because we got to remember, too, Keith Thurman was with Mario Barrios' height. He had some problems. I think with that Barrios fight, if y'all look at the Barrios fight and look at what the reach advantage did for Barrios, that kind of might be the same situation with Fedor. I think he'll be able to take advantage with the reach. I think the reach is what kept Barrios actually in that fight. His reach and being able to use his size. But Keith Thurman is used to fighting taller guys, though. It's those shorter guys that give him trouble. Yeah, if he know how to cut that ring off, oh man, it's over with. If Fedor's cutting that ring off, it's go time. Yeah, Espinoza. I like Espinoza. I like Espinoza. He a beast. I wanted to pick Espinoza so bad. I kept saying to everybody, "Hey man, this dude Espinoza, this dude can box. Who is this guy?" Because he only had fights in Mexico. I think his first fight was Robici Ramirez, 2023. I was like, who is this Espinoza guy? This dude can jab. Kind of remind you of Fedor, but this dude could jab and move a little bit. That's why Inoue don't want to come to 126. He ain't trying to fight no 6'1" featherweight. Yeah, I think Bakaram and Fedor is going to be the fight that actually gets made, because Bakaram said that he's still going through the fights with PBC, but I don't know. I don't know if his management is the same. I know he was working with Kathy Duva. I don't know if his management is the same right now. So we got to see. There's a lot of movement going on with Bakaram. Ever since that Tim Tszyu fight, he was never really in the picture. They thought that Tim Tszyu was going to end up beating him, because Bakaram looked bad. He had that Ramadan where he was fasting during Ramadan during that Jack Colque fight. I want to say it was in February, before the Tim Tszyu fight in October. So he looked bad in that fight. Most people thought he was going to lose. I thought he was possibly going to lose. But I kept saying, this dude was like 6'1", man. This dude is huge for for a 154. He looks like a 168. But what I did hear about Bakaram is he's leaning towards moving to 160 soon. So whatever happens at 54, he's not gonna be there long. And whoever's at 160, they're gonna have to eventually deal with him. So I don't know if what's gonna happen at 54, but I know that they're gonna have to move extremely fast soon, or he'll just go in another direction and move to 160, which is not gonna be bad for him because if he goes to 160, he'll be able to be successful at 160. Bakaram will, but yeah, his goals not last year. Yeah, last year earlier this year he was saying that he possibly gonna go to 160 soon. Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of guys like that. You might see Tim Tszyu at 160. To be honest with you, I've heard that he need to move up to 160. So you might see a Bakaram and a Tim Tszyu at 160 probably by 2027. So 2026, this whole situation with Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, they don't have a legit belt yet. I know Virgil Ortiz got an interim belt, but if they're still dragging on this situation, everybody at 54 is going to eventually probably just do what they need to do and unify. And those guys probably have to get a belt or be in a position for a mandatory. But I know that Virgil Ortiz at the interim belt right now, so he'll be able to make some things happen eventually. We seen Xander Zayas was in position for the Fundora fight, and instead of doing that fight and the unification, they just went ahead and went in another direction. So yeah, 154, they got a lot of moving pieces going on. But that kind of changed though because Charlo, they don't know where he's gonna fit in at. He's still champion in recess. Then you have Crawford that just left 54. You got Jaron Ennis that just stepped in. You got Virgil Ortiz that stepped into 54 last year, early February, January. So you got a lot of pieces coming in right now. Then you had the guy that just beat Charles Conwell. Then you got Ramos who's still hanging around. They feel like they beat Lubin. Then you have Lubin who's right now in the purse bid. That's going to be on the purse bid for Lubin and Bakaram is going to be next Tuesday. So we're going to figure out what platform those guys will fight on and who's going to be hosting the fight. Bakaram hit up Lubin on Twitter and said that nobody wants to put the fight together. Yep. And then tonight, you have Gary Antonio Russell will be fighting on Pro Box tonight. It's going to be facing off against Dervin Rodriguez, 11-2, 8 knockouts. They said that if Gary Antonio Russell if he beats this guy Dervin Rodriguez tonight on Pro Box, that he will fight Cardenas next. The guy who fought Inoue, that knocked down Inoue the last fight, they said that Gary Antonio Russell would fight Cardenas if he wins his fight tonight. So yeah, we're gonna check that out. I ain't know Pro Box had a fight coming on tonight. Did anyone know that? Pro Box had a fight coming on tonight. Oh yeah, they did. The William Foster fight. I forgot about that. Then I realized the Andrew Maloney fight got canceled this weekend, so I wasn't even checking for that. But yeah, they have a fight coming on tonight. Sterling Castillo, Yabakov versus William Foster III. William Foster III is the guy who beat Edwin De Los Santos a few years ago. And Sterling Castillo is a guy who boxes like Alberto Puello. He's going to be the co-main event versus Shenard Bunch, power puncher. So, yeah, they should have a good fight card now. They look like some good matchups, to be honest with you. Yeah, hopefully William Foster can bounce back, man. I feel like he's been a tough, tough fights. Yeah, I think he got robbed in one of them. But yeah, he beat Edwin De Los Santos. I never seen the fight. Can't really find it. But I knew that off of that fight, he was gonna have trouble with Shakur Stevenson. Yeah, I want to see Baccarat versus Fedor. He said Thurman Fedor will be interesting. More power to Thurman to get that fight. Thurman could win. Baccarat versus Janovic. Yeah, I think Janovic is actually gonna move up if he doesn't get this fight with Adames or Lara. I think he's gonna eventually move up because he's already have some weight issues and bigger fights at 168 than 160. And 168 is getting loaded right now. I think it would be bad news for Janovic to go to 168 right now. I wanted Janovic to fight Shiraz last year, and people thought that Shiraz was ducking Janovic, but they actually had an agreement, I think, that Shiraz can just go on and fight Adames, and then they can probably just circle around for a unification or undisputed or something eventually. But it never happened, so Shiraz just moved up to 168. But yeah, that was actually a mandatory fight that they had asked for already. That was a mandatory. Janovic was actually Shiraz mandatory. But it didn't happen though. I wouldn't let that fight go. Yeah, it's some good fights from Baccarat at 160. That's what I'm waiting on. Because I still want to see him at 154, but I mean the dude has been there for a long time, man. The dude was trying to fight Charlo 4 or 5 years ago. He was a mandatory for this guy, like 4 years ago. So if you was a mandatory for Charlo for like 2 or 3 years, that lets you know you've been at 150 for a long time. Most guys would have already moved up just because he couldn't get a fight at it's kind of like what happened to Andre when he couldn't really get a fight at 54. But he didn't wait that long at 54. He just moved up to 160. But Baccarat has been there a long time. I think the dude is almost 30 years old. If not 30, he might be 30 years old by now. Yeah, Baccarat is 32 years old. And he's been at 154 for a minute. Yeah, he's going to eventually go to 160. Yeah, he's been there a long time. A very long time. And he hasn't been active that much in recent years. You got to think about it. He only fought twice since 2022. Hasn't fought that much. I think that was around the time he became a mandatory. But he's only fought twice since 2022, and that's about it. Then he hasn't fought since the Tim Tszyu fight. So he's going to be out a year by the time he gets back in the ring. He was supposed to fight Josh Kelly, but Lubin's the mandatory, man. Lubin's the mandatory, and Lubin is not moving away from it. I've heard a lot of things that Baccarat has said about other fights, but like he was looking for a fight, but you got to fight right there with Lubin. It might not be the ideal matchup we want to see, but I'm pretty sure if he would have fought Lubin 3 or 4 months ago, we wouldn't have cared who he was fighting. We would have just wanted to see the fight, wanted to see Baccarat fight again, but been waiting too much on his next opponent, man. Who Mel fight next? I don't know. Hey, from what I've heard, I'm just throwing this out here. The first name that Oscar De La Hoya threw out there was Jermell Charlo. He wanted to get Virgil Ortiz in the ring with. And the reason why I say that makes sense is because, you know, Charlo is still a champion in recess, so it could work out. But that's something that Oscar De La Hoya was trying to actually do. He wanted to do Jermell Charlo versus Virgil Ortiz in Texas. Then he threw Earl Spence out there for some reason. And I was like, no, that ain't realistic. It is realistic, but it could happen. But I think Charlo can actually jump up out there. Because Charlo said he got something coming up now as far as what he's waiting on. He just turned 35. He hasn't fought since he was, 33? So, yeah, Charlo says he has something coming up. And Virgil Ortiz is a guy that they've been talking about him fighting for a while. Before they named Keith Thurman, before they named anybody. They've been talking about Charlo since June, July with Virgil Ortiz. But I don't think it's going to be that type of fight, though. I don't think so. I really don't. Now, if it happens, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, with the way boxing is going right now, guys are 35, Charlo 35 years old. Man, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And we've seen Turkey Al-Sheikh help out certain events that wasn't directly dealing with Riyadh. Like with the fight he had, like the ball chucking. The ball chucking Virgil Ortiz fight. You remember Turkey Al-Sheikh was over there saying what the plans were for Virgil or Bakaram after the fight. So yeah, it could be a plan to where that fight could leapfrog somebody into a Riyadh season card or something. What if Charlo does accept the fight and go out there and beats Virgil Ortiz? How many people would pick Charlo to beat Virgil Ortiz? It will be a lot of people saying that it's a chance. He's definitely not a walk in the park. He said Mel gonna end up getting Zayas. I don't know if he's gonna get Zayas. I don't know if he's gonna get Zayas. I thought Zayas was gonna be possible. Only reason I don't think Zayas is going to be like you said, that actually is a good pick. The only reason I don't think so is because Thurman and Fedor is still like a PBC type of fight. It's still a PBC umbrella fight almost because they're still fighting. Both of those guys PBC. So I don't know. I gotta see what PBC are. They leaning towards making a fight with just another PBC fighter when it comes to Charlo, or would they be willing to let him go fight Virgil Ortiz or put that together? With him being 35, I would definitely say that he needs to make a move at that 154 position, man. He really does. Because Charlo said he was going, if he feels good at 68, he'll move up. Then at one point he said he felt like he wanted to go to 160. But 154 is still a good weight class to get things done at. And with the dominance at 160, I don't know. I don't think Charlo would want to come back and fight a guy like Adames at 160 besides one of these guys at 54. They still younger guys. They probably got less. They got less experience than Charlo does. So I think he has better advantages down there at 54. Yeah, but who knows, man? Hey, Virgil Ortiz can really get something done. He run that Boychuk fight back again. He fights Boychuk right now. Everybody will watch that fight. I know it's a rematch. We already seen the matchup. But what direction does Boychuk have to go in? He has no other direction to go. He needs to actually prove himself a little bit. I think Bakaram, he's already proven that he belongs, but Boychuk came in heavy that last fight, like 160 or something like that. He needs a bounce back fight bad. And he didn't look good his last fight. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. He didn't look good his last fight. He looked horrible. I actually thought he looked terrible in his last fight. Michael Fox exposed him a little bit with that reach. But I think Virgil Ortiz and Bochuk, they can actually that was fight of the year last year to a lot of people. That'll be a good matchup again. It's not really a lot of directions they can go into. We gotta see what Xander Zayas is doing. If they're gonna put the bubble wrap on him or let him come out and play, we gotta see. Cause Top Rank is gonna value his belt a lot. You already had Fendora move out the way. So for him to get the belt, they're gonna hold on to it as long as they can. And Xander Zayas, he'll fight most guys, so they gotta hold him back a little bit. And Virgil Ortiz, he wants that belt from Xander Zayas. He's like, man, how this dude get a belt? My resume better than his. So a lot of the fighters at 54, they feel like he's the weakest link. Let's be real. They feel like he is the weakest link because he's the youngest. They feel like he hasn't fought many people, hasn't been knocking a lot of guys out. The power is not really a threat to them. They don't feel like he looked good in his last fight or his last two fights. I've been hearing him criticized for his last two fights. So yeah, a lot of people think he's the weak link, but we got to see, man. Yeah, he's they calling him the weakest link, Dark King. I'm like, we gotta see. We got to see about that. I like Xander Zayas. The reason why I like Xander Zayas, dude is smart. He doesn't try to go out there and do what the crowd wants him to do. He's a little smarter than his age. Like, he's a lot more mature for his age. Like, he's not gonna go out there and put himself in a position to get knocked out. That's the biggest compliment I can give Xander Zayas. He's smart. He fights like he's 35 years old. Like, dude knows when to put himself in a good position. He knows when to jab, when to let his hands go, when to keep it just single shots, when to double up, when to focus more on the jab, when to focus on the inside, when to go to the body. I haven't seen him headhunt a lot. That's a good compliment I can give it to him. He doesn't really headhunt a lot on guys. So yeah, I like what he does. Yeah, they better fight him now. Shout out to Rude Exposure. Everybody subscribe to Rude Exposure. They better fight him now. Hey, Xander Zayas is getting better. They better fight him now, because if you look at the names he's fighting, the guy Roberto Valenzuela, Jr. I don't like to compare certain guys, but I'm just gonna throw this out here. The guy Roberto Valenzuela Jr., he went 12 rounds. He went 8 rounds. It was only an 8-round fight. 8-round fight. I'm looking at things wrong. He had an 8-round fight with Baccarat, and it went the distance. He fights Xander Zayas 9 months later, and he got stopped in the 5th round. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I never looked at that and compared those two until just now. But I'll just say, from what I've been seeing, I'm telling you, the dude a lot more dangerous than what people realize. Xander Zayas is a lot more dangerous. A lot more dangerous. Not a lot of the big names on the resume, like I said, though. He knocked that dude out in the 5th round. And I seen the fight. The dude was still on his feet, but he was getting the brakes beat off of him. And Baccarat, he went the distance with the guy. And then also, yeah, so we ain't going into too much about that, but yeah, Xander Zayas he has been looking impressive against certain guys. But it's not really big names like that, so it's not going to stick out as much. But you got to realize he just turned 22, and he has the same kind of names with resume as most of these other guys at 54. 54 hasn't been mixing it up yet, so he hasn't had that opportunity to mix it up. And then he did fight the guy that just beat Conwell, so that says something. But yeah, they better get to him now, man. Like Rude Exposure said, they're waiting around on Xander Zayas. Dude is too dangerous. He's too dangerous. He knows how good he is. He knows he needs to get better. He doesn't think he's a finished product. He has very long arms. His arms is the same size as Terrence Crawford. He has longer arms than Dimitri Bivol. Very good size, man. Doesn't have a lot of knockouts because the dude he tries to get better, and also he's not using these fights to get better. But what I'm saying is, he's not boxing just to box. He's improving. Like with Fundora, at one point he was just boxing just to box, but he's improving now and focusing on his improvement and his development. I think at one point Fundora was just getting happy beating guys up. Xander Zayas, he skipped that stage and went straight to, okay, let me focus on boxing these guys, going to the body. And if I can't get this guy out of here, let me try to use my angles. If I got to hold and do certain things, he's learning everything he needs to. So when he gets to a Bakaram, it'll look like a more even fight. I think if he get in the ring with Bakaram, it will be one of Bakaram's toughest opponents. Absolutely. Even with Bakaram fighting Tim Tszyu. And if you look at how Tim Tszyu fought Bakaram, Tim Tszyu actually gave Bakaram more credit than Bakaram actually deserved. And I'm being real because Tim Tszyu said, yeah, I tried to go out there and knock him out. You tried to go out there and knock out a 6'1", 154? Oh, that's why you got knocked out then. Okay. Xander Zayas ain't gonna try to go out there and walk down no 6'1". No, I'm not finna in Big Charlo. I'm not finna walk down a 6'1", 154 and then think that it's gonna go well. So that's the only thing, to be honest with you. I know Xander Zayas is a good boxer, but just telling y'all, when I look at him, that's what I be thinking about. I'm like, man, this dude finna fight smart. Like somebody got to do a lot to get him in a bad position. He knows what he needs to do in the ring. He don't make a lot of mistakes. That's just what I'll say. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Doesn't get power hungry. Doesn't try to go for the knockout. Dude smart, man. He gonna have a long career doing stuff like that. A long career. Because I think Virgil Ortiz did more of that against Madrimov. Oh, okay, let me not try to force it against this guy. Whatever comes to me, let me just see what comes to me first and then see what the openings are. But against Volchuk, I think Virgil Ortiz was trying to force it. See, Xander Zayas don't have those problems. Not the same kind of opponents, but he's not having those problems. That's why what Rudy Folger said, they better get him now. They better get him now. Because once he start focusing on power and landing these shots and setups and improving on his combinations, everything else, feigning a lot more, man, it's gonna be a problem. Because now he's just adding stuff. He ain't got to build up no more. Now Xander Zayas just adding on stuff now. Even Fundora, he doesn't have to build up anymore. All he has to do is to get stronger and build up his arsenal. A lot of these other guys, they got to build up their confidence. They got to get back to where they was. They're kind of behind right now. Even if they lose, sometimes guys lose, come right back. It makes them better, but everybody ain't like that though. Everybody don't lose and then try to fix the problem. Yeah, Shakur can fight. What's going on, PD? Shout out my dog PD, man. Yeah, Shakur can fight 20 years if he wants to. Matter of fact, I'm glad you said that. When did he actually start boxing? That's possible. Shakur doesn't get hit by anybody. And the way Shakur was hitting Williams Zepeda, a lot of people gonna realize that he can get guys up out of here as well. Williams Zepeda might not even have the confidence in his next fight. Shakur he started in 2017. Yeah, he might be able to box 20 years, man. Easy. He might be able to box 20 years easy. And what I like about what Shakur does too as well, his weight is never, well, I know he had that one time with the weight issue, but his weight is never been a problem lately as far as him setting up fights, even going up to 140, 47 talks that he's had. He's at a good height, 5'8". So yeah, between 54 and 35, I think by the time he hangs it up, he's 28 right now. I keep thinking he's like younger than that right now. So I don't know. 54 might be a reach. What I've heard, I don't know. It might not go past 147 for him. With the frame he has, yeah, I can see him not going past 147. But eventually, I don't know. At the end, maybe guys at 54s, those might be the big fights at that time. Maybe at that time when he gets to 54, you might have a Keyshawn and Abdullah Mason, all those guys at 54. Who knows? Those are not smaller guys either. So maybe they all grow like how Charlo and Keith Thurman, all these guys are filling out these weight classes. Most of those guys now are 54. So I think they might gain weight like that. Because Keith Thurman, he's not really a tall guy compared to Keyshawn. Not Keyshawn, but Shakur Stevenson. He's not really a tall guy. I think he's around 5'8". He's 5'9.5". 5'9.5". I don't know about 5'9.5". I mean, he was taller than Manny Pacquiao, but I don't know if Keith Thurman is 5'9.5". Yeah. Yeah, he's close to Manny Pacquiao in height, bro. I don't know about 5'9.5". Yeah, Manny Pacquiao's close to him in height. 5'9.5". He's probably 5'8", 5'7". Yeah, he's about the same height as Shakur Stevenson. 5'9.5". I don't know about that. Manny Pacquiao is close to him in height. Didn't Manny Pacquiao fight Bronner? I think Bronner probably had more height over Pacquiao than Thurman did. Nah, him and Bronner about close in height as well. That shows you how short Bronner is, though. Dang, Bronner about the same height as Pacquiao. He got like an inch over him, I think. Yeah, man, I gotta do a video about Adrian Bronner too today, man. Dude talking about hanging it up. Not hanging it up, but I think Floyd fought like about 20 years, Rude. I think Floyd fought 20 years. When he turned pro, like 18? Let me look it up. I don't know why I said I think. I could just look it up. I'm glad they put these dates back on BoxRec. A couple of days ago, they ain't had dates on here. Yeah, Floyd fought 20 years. They started in 96 at the Olympics. And then ended with McGregor. You know, if you want to count the Birdo as the last one. But he ended with McGregor. That was 21. With the Birdo fight, that was just about 20. So yeah, it was about 20. Yeah, that's actually a good observation, Rue. I think that's a good observation. And Floyd is the same height as Shakur Stevenson. Shakur got shorter arms though. Floyd got his arms is 72-inch arm reach. Floyd arms is the same length as Dimitri Bivol. Damn, I didn't know that. Floyd got some long arms, man. Floyd arm ain't longer than Terrence Crawford, but he got some long arms. 72-inch arm reach. For Floyd Mayweather's long arms. That's why a lot of guys had trouble with him. They got in the ring with him, didn't realize his arms is that long. Yeah, Shakur can fight 20 years. I see the only person giving Shakur a challenge is probably like Devin Haney, to be honest with y'all. Maybe Andy Cruz will give him a different look. Yeah, Abdullah Mason eventually gonna be a good fight with Shakur. Abdullah Mason too, that's a good one. Scooter Davis is a problem. I like Scooter Davis. I think he's a beast. I think Scooter Davis is a problem. It's a lot of other guys too. Schofield and Mason, yeah, that's good. I actually want to see that fight. Possibly if they can make that early next year, because Mason gonna have a belt if he can get past Sam Noakes. Sam Noakes ain't easy, but if he can get this belt, Schofield fighting Abdullah Mason will be a very good fight because I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm still let down by him not fighting Shakur Stevenson. That was gonna be a very good fight, man. The boxing world was ready for Floyd Schofield because Floyd Schofield says he don't get a lot of credit, bro. He was getting a lot of credit leading up to that Shakur Stevenson fight. A lot of credit because I don't think the knockout, like he makes it seem like he needed a knockout from Tevin Farmer. That was only because you didn't fight Shakur, but he was getting all that credit for fighting Shakur. So in order for him to even get a position for a Shakur Stevenson fight again, he got to fight a guy like Abdullah Mason, especially if he gets a belt. But what I'm seeing right now is Floyd Schofield is possibly going to be a mandatory for Tank Davis belt very soon. So maybe that's a fight that a lot of people would rather see than that. And Floyd Schofield could be the mandatory for Tank. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all though, I think Tank gonna end up probably stepping away from that division by then. I don't think he's gonna entertain a Schofield fight. I just don't think so. You said Mason too green and young for Shakur? Yeah. Yeah, the defense is just with Shakur, the defense is just too much. And then Shakur switch it up too much. He might go out there just boxing. Mason would be best to match up with Keyshawn. Yeah, that actually is a better matchup. I'm right. I believe you with that one. Yeah, Shakur won all them belts at 35. All of them. I think he's gonna be the undisputed at 35. I honestly do. I think he's gonna be the undisputed at 35, and I think everybody knows it. I don't know if he's gonna fight Mason. If that happens, we know that both of those guys would take that fight. But Keyshawn and Mason, that's a fight that I think Keyshawn knows that's pretty close. Because for some reason, ever since, because Keyshawn was the first person to say, man, Mason is a beast, bro. I'm just proud of him. He's a good fighter, blah, blah, blah. They kept asking him about Mason a couple more times, and he was just like, man, look, I can fight him. I'll fight him. You know what I'm saying? As far as I would fight him. So Keyshawn knows that dude's a threat. Yeah, you think Mason gonna have the belts with yeah, Mason gonna have belts. He gonna have belts. I think when he get to 54, I would love to see him get to 54 probably after 2026, 2027. I know it's 2027 is a reach, but 2026 at least. I want to see him try to entertain a fight with Schofield. If Schofield gonna be the number one contender, that'll be good. If Shakur goes for undisputed and Mason got a belt, he gonna have to fight Shakur no matter what. But I don't know if undisputed might happen in those weight classes. You know, the weight does play a factor. So maybe by then one of those guys might be like, man, it's time for me to move on. I got the belt, but I can't unify. That might be a situation. But Shakur said, out of all the people at 135, I'm not going nowhere till I get all the belts. So when he said that, I was like, oh yeah, Keyshawn gonna have to figure out something. That's what I realized then. And that's why it was weird recently when Keyshawn said, I want to stay at 135 possibly. You can't think about 135 and you still got the same guys there before you had lost the belt. I'm like, man, it's time to go to 140 to be honest with you. Yeah, because I don't know how that fight between him and Abdullah Mason actually goes, man. I know Abdullah Mason is young, but he's not too far from where Keyshawn is. Keyshawn's fought Moranchik and Lemos. But I can see Mason jumping in the ring with those guys as well. I know Baranchik, he's not gonna try to fight Abdullah Mason. I don't even know if that guy's gonna box anymore. So yeah, we're gonna have to see, man, as far as what happened with that division. But I see Shakur getting all the belts in 135. That's why I want to see him fight Lamont Roach, Gary Russell, because these other guys, they're gonna try to wait it out a little bit. He don't really get called out that much either. You know, they mention Shakur's name, but unless it's like Haney or Tank or something, it ain't too many people calling him out for a fight. They're using a running narrative to get away from him, but they know now this dude dangerous, especially after that Zepeda fight. And to be honest with you, he can go to another level than that Zepeda fight. I think he could have stopped Zepeda. He probably just still healing from his hands. He like, man, I ain't finna mess these hands up on this dude. I ain't finna break my hand on this dude. Yeah, it don't seem like it, do it. It seemed like Keyshawn knows Abdullah Mason he's the real deal, bro. A lot of people try to go around it like he's not a good fighter. Keyshawn knows this dude he knows it. Even Shakur Stevenson said, man, he gonna be one of the ones. And Shakur, when he said that recently, he been saying that about some guys who really getting it done. Ray Ford. He said that Ray Ford was a guy that people need to watch out for. I didn't know that him and Ray Ford had a connection, though. I just seen Ray Ford box against Edward Vasquez, and I said he's a pretty good fighter. But I didn't know that Ray Ford could switch it up, going from brawling and boxing and brawling. People was making it seem like he was a runner. Then when he fought Nick Ball, he was brawling with Nick Ball. So when I seen that, I was like, oh yeah, Ray Ford, he a beast. So yeah, Shakur, he's pretty good when he's talking about breaking fighters down and most of the time. Like Roach, he was saying things about Lamont Roach leading up to the fight. Keyshawn did as well, but Keyshawn did as well. Said that Lamont Roach was gonna be on point leading up to the fight. So he knows that Abdullah Mason is for real. And trust me, you know how I know Abdullah Mason is the real deal? We got people who usually don't talk about prospects. They like, man, this dude Abdullah Mason, bro. This dude is a problem. And they said that like 2 years ago. Most people were saying that 2 years ago. It was like, man, this dude is a beast, especially last year. He's starting to fight a little bit more. You start to see him a little more on ESPN. Yeah, he's a problem, man. People know how good he is. That's how you know he's a real talent in boxing. Most guys don't get credit for that just showing up boxing like he does. He getting a lot of credit. Yeah, he ain't want that smoke with him. I'm going to be honest with you. He knows that Abdullah Mason can go out there and replace him easily. And that's something you just don't want to play with. You don't want to come off a Baranchik fight and then deal with that. That's why him not fighting De Los Santos, I don't know what really went into that because there's a lot of things that can play a part. Oh yeah, they got I can't wait to see that fight tomorrow with Nova and Ray Ford. Nova always got a good fight. They gotta start putting some respect on Nova's name. He always got a good fight. He always letting his hands go. I think he got robbed his last fight, but he always letting his hands go. Yeah, he's always a good fight. He actually a good replacement fight too for Kakashi. Kind of like the same fighter, to be honest with you. But yeah, I can't wait. You know that Gary Antonio Russell is fighting tonight on Pro Box. So anybody that want to check that out, we're gonna be live for that tonight. Gary Antonio Russell will be fighting against this guy named Rodriguez. And if he wins that fight tonight, he'll be facing off against Roman Cardenas, the dude who just fought. He just fought against Inoue recently, the guy who dropped Inoue in Las Vegas after the Canelo and Skull fight. He's going to be fighting him next if he wins tonight on Pro Box. And then you have William Foster fighting Yurbakov, I think his name is. He's going to be fighting that guy on the main event. William Foster is a guy who defeated Edward De Los Santos before he fought Shakur. He defeated Edwin De Los Santos before he fought El Rayo. I want to say. I think when El Rayo had a when he fought De Los Santos had already lost to William Foster. Yeah, he lost to William Foster. Yeah, he lost to William Foster in January. Then he knocked out Rayo in September. Yeah, so I never got to see that fight. I think it was on a Pro Box card. They said that card was I don't know who the headliner was on that. But the crazy part about that, it was Shenard Bunch, who fights tonight. Shenard Bunch and Sterling Castillo was on that same fight card with William Foster versus Edwin De Los Santos. Sterling Castillo had lost that night, got dropped twice in the first round. He fights tonight against Shenard Bunch, who won that same night by unanimous decision over a Kazakhstan fighter that same night. Okay. So those guys all fight tonight on Pro Box, except for De Los Santos. Yeah, Sterling Castillo kind of reminds you of Alberto Puello. I didn't know he was actually Dominican. He's from Dominican Republic, but he reminds you of Alberto Puello. Very good fighter, actually. Has one loss and one draw. Yeah, he's a guy I would definitely watch out for. Yeah, I know a couple of guys he's fought too. But yeah, that's gonna be some good fights coming on tonight. You think boxing fans will get Foster versus Fulton at 26? Yeah, they still got a Tank Davis fight card lined up with Roach. They just postponed it, so all those fights they had on the Tank Davis card with Lamont Roach is still gonna be on there. They still got Shockey Foster versus Cool Boy Steph, and then they still have what's the other guy's name that fought Nick Ball? Ray Vargas versus Carlos Castro, the guy who dropped Stephen Fulton last year on the Canelo card. When Stephen Fulton was the prelims on the Canelo Berlanga card, that guy that people thought that beat Stephen Fulton, he's gonna fight Ray Vargas on that same card because Ray Vargas is the champion in recess still, so he's gonna come back and try to regain his title, I guess. But yeah, that's the two fights I know that's on the Tank Davis card. I forgot what the other two fights were. I know it's more, but I forgot what they were. And then with the fight getting pushed back, who knows? They may. I don't think they're gonna snatch those two fights off, but the other fights probably might not be there. But Cool Boy Steph versus Shock at 26 is definitely the fight I'm looking for. Yeah, Stephen Fulton is a real deal, man. He fights a lot of people, man. He definitely starts. He got to start getting credit for fighting anybody. Sometimes I didn't even think he was gonna fight Shockey Foster. Then when I heard about him fighting, I'm like, this dude fights anybody. Yeah, they still got them on the undercard for Tank Davis and Roach. It seems like they got the fight pushed back right now. I don't know if it's gonna happen in December. October looks like a stretch. It could happen in October. I don't know. October looks dangerous. November is dangerous for them to have that fight because you got the Anthony Yard and Benavidez, and then you got Norman and Haney that month. You could do those fights the same month, but because I don't think that fight with Haney and Norman, that fight is going to be on pay-per-view. I think that fight is going to be free on the zone. They got some other fees. But yeah, that fight's going to be on the undercard, though. I don't know when it's going to be, though. I know they've been training, but maybe they took a break and was told to pump the brakes. It's gonna be postponed for a little while, but it could be October. That's gonna be a stretch though. October is like 2 months away. Maybe they start camp again, but that's gonna be around the time Boots fights. They can squeeze October in there, but if it's not October, maybe December. But December is gonna be kind of hard too. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Tank Davis and Roach is gonna have to be on in October because if you're doing Manny Pacquiao versus Rolly in December, and then you're doing Keith Thurman versus Fedor in October, what week are they gonna do the Tank versus Lamont Roach? That's two big PBC fights, kind of close within those 2 months, 2 or 3 months, within 8 weeks. Probably gonna be 9 weeks, 10 weeks because Pacquiao gonna fight on 27. So that's gonna be in between 10 weeks that Fedor's gonna fight. I don't know. Maybe they aim for November, but to have Fedor versus Keith Thurman, then to have Jerron Ennis fighting around the same time in October. I don't know when that fight's gonna land. But yeah, man, we're gonna be back on later on, man. I appreciate everybody for coming through. Shout out to Dark Kent, man. Everybody coming through. PD. Just chopping up with y'all guys this morning, man. I appreciate everybody for coming through, man. Everybody subscribe to Rude Exposure as well, man. Everybody subscribe to Rude Exposure. I appreciate everybody for coming through.